Sure.
Here we go. Welcome, everyone, to the Mechanics Institute and the Tuesday night marathon. I'm Abel Talamantes, chess director for the Mechanics Institute, and joining me is FIDE master Paul Whitehead. How are you doing?
I'm all right. I was just looking at the standings for the tournament, and there's some surprises and some, it's good to see Michael Walder doing good, with 3 out of 4, and Biasis and Ashik Uzman's son is doing well, and Elliot Winslow.
And
but at the top board, we have Kyron Griffith and
Rui,
Rui Yan.
And actually,
go ahead.
And no, I was just about to say that, pre-tournament, we have all this talent in the top section and a lot of people that are capable of making, big moves. And but we've always known that, Kyron and Rui are they're consistently a little step above. And here they are in round 5, the only 2 players with perfect score so far duking it out. So this is pretty exciting.
Someone described this as Little Red Riding Hood versus the Big Bad Wolf. Is that?
Yeah, I heard that from someone. Yeah, and the funny thing is that these are both players that are like aggressive attacking players. So who's the wolf and who's Riding Hood? We won't know in this game. But Rui has white in this game, so let's see what she does. She's a Sicilian player herself. I don't know if she's an E4 player, but we will find out.
Yeah, both of these players play. Let's see. Rui, when she's black, plays very solidly. When she's white, she plays an attacking game. Kyron is the opposite. When he's black, he plays the attacking game, and when he's white, he plays the solid game. Yeah. I've noticed that over the course of.
And there's a lot of gamesmanship too, because someone typically plays whatever E4, defends against E4. They know that on this night I'm playing Kyron. I'm gonna mix it up, and I'm gonna play the Alekines, or in her part, she might play C4. Who knows? But
speaking in praise of the Alekines defense, Carlsen beat Nakamura a game with it today.
As black with the Alekines. Fantastic.
Yeah, he played black and he played the Alekines defense. It was quite unusual.
Now, is that something that's typical? And we're waiting for the games to start. Judith will be starting the games shortly, and she's already starting a few games. So, and actually, board 1 is started, and she played E4, true to form.
Okay, let's see it.
And it was a Caro-Kann, it looks like.
These are the top players in the tournament, and they're playing after 4 rounds. Yeah, 4 rounds.
Yeah, this is round 5. And so I'm just gonna pull a bunch of games up.
And look at Mansour finally having the tournament that has been, that he's
eluding him.
That's in him, right? He's shown a lot of promise and come up from the ranks. Elliot Winslow, Cretan. I'm not sure if that's a long last name.
Gopalakrishnan.
Yeah.
So right now we're just pulling up a bunch of games so that we can look at them in a bit. Because these games are manually paired, they're not in a tournament where we can find all the games at once. I've friended almost all the players, and then so I pull the games up that way, and that's how I get access to the games.
Right.
And let me get Pradeep, who's the top board on.
Speaking of Alekines defense, this looks like it maybe started out as an Alekine.
Oh, I'm just flipping. I'm almost. Oh, that game
So
hasn't started
Abel
yet.
is bringing up the game so that we can come back and forth to them easily.
All right, so let's focus on a set of games that I have up, and let's start on board one.
Yeah.
National Master Rui Yang Yan is white against FIDE Master Kyron Griffith, the only 4-0 scores in the tournament.
Right. Well, these players are a lot better than their chess.com rapid ratings, that's for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, there's these funny especially with players that don't play all the time at this time limit. It can be hard to get your rating up. It takes a while to get your rating up. I think that might be it.
What do you think of Carol Khan here for Kyron? I can't say that I've seen that too much, but you would know a little bit better.
Yeah, well, this is the old knight f3, knight c3, and Kyron's throwing in this a6 move. There's obviously a certain strategy behind it. Fischer played this a lot for white in the late 50s and one of the interzonals, and he didn't do too well with this opening. He kept stubbornly playing it for white, the two knights versus and the Russians pretty much got easy draws and sometimes even nailed them for a win.
So let's take a look at board two, which was Pranav Sairam and Mansour Mohammed. Check this out, and you tell me, Paul.
This is, I think, book move. This h5 and queen f. Yeah, this is another exchange. This is exchange Roy Lopez.
Correct.
With
the Morphy defense.
white castling and bishop g4 h2. I don't know the theory behind this. Black's aggressively placed now. White playing for the positional.
And Mansour going for like the surprise, right? Kind of going for out of the ordinary. But I mean, maybe this is a known.
Yeah, it's close to. If it's not completely known, it's close to known.
I'd be scared to death if I was white, but
that's
why I'm not playing in this tournament.
Right. I'm scared to death, and I'm just watching it. Yeah, white usually can deal with this kind of aggression. Maybe knight b3 and bishop to e3 or something like that.
Let's take a look at what I think is our board 3 matchup between Theo Biasis and Jonah Bush, which is an intriguing matchup to me.
Yeah.
And Jonah coming off the upset last week of Elliot Winslow.
Well, this looks like it came out of an Alekhine or something.
It's an Alekhine. It's an Alekhine. Yeah.
I don't know if this is book or not. I mean, it depends on, your kind of style of play. The white bishop looks a little funny on d3, and black has black played h3, bishop c8? Or has that happened? I'm not sure exactly how this opening came about.
Oh, white, you mean?
Yeah, black seems to be doing okay here. It's got the usual pressure on the center, and knight b4 maybe, and
this is the usual setup, right?
I think black's doing okay out of the opening here so far.
Let's take a look at Kalen Melville and Ayan Zaman.
Well, it's a solid opening here going on. And black is going to castle queenside, which makes sense here. It's a little bit difficult for him to untangle on the king side.
So we got some action on board 2, so let me flip back to that.
Looks okay for black, too.
So we had a trade of queens here.
I think this has been a little bit of a success for white.
For white?
Yes.
Despite the...
Well, black no longer has the 2 bishops, and white has the nominally better bishop in this opening. And there's the G file that white can operate on. There's the fact that white can play pawn f4, eliminating the double pawns.
And would it be fair to say?
I think white's well placed here, and especially this is sort of a strategic goal for white in this opening. Even I would say.
Let's take a peek
and watch the players prove me wrong.
Here we have Satvik Krishnan against Rohan Das.
This is just looks like a King's Indian reversed. The h6 is not usually a good move for white in a reverse position. So if I'm black there, I'd want to play maybe bishop, maybe knight d7 and b6 and a6 and try to play for b5. h6 is, it just gives whites something to play for with maybe f4 and an eventual g5 or something. It's a little bit funny. It's not terrible, but black wants to play bishop e6 and avoid knight g5. So maybe it's good.
Let me go back to board one.
Complicated game.
Yeah.
So white has a nice space advantage in this typical kind of Frenchy Caro-Kann defense. And black has exchanged off the bad bishop, but white's left with more space and the two bishops, and I think most players would prefer to have white in this kind of position. It's a small advantage, but it's significant.
I mean, would you say this game is going to get ground down to?
Yeah, I mean, there's
incremental.
There's a strategic struggle going on here, and we're going to see how the players, complete their development, and then what's white going to go for and what black is going to go for. Right now, black has to be flexible and a bit careful that. I'm not sure that black wants to play c5 in these kind of positions. Maybe e5 is a better idea, but black has to be careful. Two bishops can spring to life here.
Wreak havoc, huh? Let's check board one in the under 1600. Pranav Pradeep, who is right now, I think, 4-0 in that section, and he is taking on Raheem Darcy. Looks like
the players
gesture.
are developing their pieces.
yeah, that's the.
There's not much going on here.
The limit of what we can say.
The white squared bishop has been exchanged. I mean, black is fine here with the two bishops and nothing else much going on. So black is at least equalized.
So flipping to PJ Leotino here is black against Nitish Nathan. Look at this position here.
So I guess black just retook a piece on e6.
Let's see.
And now white
did not.
White,
did not.
What?
Did not. So this.
Oh no, he just played rook e6.
Yeah, just rook e6.
That's an odd. I guess it's to avoid knight d6, but of course, white can think about playing d5 here. Let's see, if white takes on e5 and black takes back with the knight and white trades, black has to be careful here that there's not, and also d5 is followed by something. I'm not sure what, maybe followed by knight d6. Sure, d5 and then knight d6. I think black is a little
tensions going on.
Discombobulated here. White looks like he should have something here in this position.
And it's going to end up putting a lot of pressure. Let's take a peek at Elliot Winslow's game.
International mass. Okay, black sidesteps with rook f6, but okay, knight d5. So is Elliot sacrificing a pawn with this move?
Let's see. Yeah, he just played knight d5. If knight takes d5, e takes d5, bishop d5, white can play, I suppose, knight f5, winning a piece. Why do we assume it's a sacrifice instead of just a straight blunder?
Good question, actually.
So you just assumed it was a sacrifice.
Well, let's see. Okay, if knight d5 e d5, bishop d5, knight to f5, and white wins a piece. So, of course, black can take on d5 with the knight and then play bishop f5 or something like that. Or rather, no, the bishop would have to move. That wouldn't be so great. So what about bishop takes d5, e takes d5, knight takes d5? Same thing, knight f5. But then black might have bishop f6, and if queen takes d5, queen takes b2 check, and black, that looks a little scary. It's interesting, bishop takes d5, e takes d5, knight takes d5, knight f5. Attacking the knight, mainly attacking the knight on d5. And if the knight on d5 takes on f4, then white can play knight e7 check. If black, so maybe bishop f6, allowing white to take on d5, and then queen takes b2 check. Black doesn't really have a lot of pieces in the attack, but it's good enough for a draw, actually. King d2, queen c3 check. So,
So flipping over to Javier Silva's game is black against Solias.
Solias.
Giorgio Solias.
Is he playing all the way from Greece?
I don't know where he's at, actually.
That's really interesting. Well, Yasu, I think is how you say hi or something like that.
As Joni, right?
Yeah, I'm probably butchering the Greek language as you speak. I'm sure I am. Well, white's got space and the better bishop. So white's a little better here, for sure. But there's a long way to go. Pawn f4 even there.
All right, flipping to Papa Ashik Uzuman is black against Chelsea Zhu.
Well, you know what I like about Ashik's play is I like his openings. I'm very fond. When I look at Ashik's openings, I'm looking at the opening of a player who has consciously chosen an aggressive opening style. It's very interesting. So he's one of the few players, I think with a little discipline, he could become a master quite easily, I think. And maybe he just doesn't have the time to do it.
I think
he has a thought-out approach to chess that's better than, what's his rating, an A player?
Yeah, he's like pushing 2,000, like the high 1900s.
Right. It's just, he probably doesn't have the time to put into chess. He's a player with talent and
he's busy
and a thought-out approach to the game.
And he moves too fast.
What?
And he moves too fast.
And he moves too. Well, that's
the style, right? That's I mean, is it true that if he, for some people, if he chose to slow down and think, it actually might disrupt his process?
Yeah.
Or is that just an excuse?
I think that's chess doesn't work that way. Bad habit is a bad habit, and
so I could say, well, that's just my style.
Right.
It doesn't work.
I mean, I used to think smoking cigarettes helped my chess.
And drinking coffee.
So. A lot of players of my generation did.
It's been since disproven.
It's incredible how many people I see smoking during games. It was just normal. Just have a overflowing ashtray next to you.
And at the Mechanics Institute. I was about to say.
Sure. Yeah.
All right, let me flip to board one.
Different times.
Here we go. So
same thing. I mean, Roy is just playing a solid game, and white is just bringing her rooks into the center, and black is also playing super solid here. But you got to like white here. It's just a matter of she's gonna have to push at some point and make c4, f4, or g4, or bring the rooks into the center. There's a lot of possible scenarios.
Yeah, and I noticed in a few games with Rui, I think the last one against Elliott, and I think it happened with a game with Kyron actually, where there was a lot of tension in the position. Things were even late in the game, but then just one move went south for her. So I think the trick is to maintain the intensity. Who's going to maintain the intensity the longest, right? And keep the concentration and not make that, because that's how he beat Theo last week. Kyron is a game that looked really even, and then all of a sudden,
that's a game. Yeah, there's a lot of sort of when chess masters play chess experts, and you start to see some of the subtle things that separate these players, and it's not fighting spirit. It's just a lot of it's endgame knowledge, a lot of it's endgame, and knowing which pieces to trade, and just stuff like that. It's stuff that seems really small and insignificant, but actually is really quite large and important. And those are the differences that separate the master from the
even an expert, right?
From the expert. Yeah, I think. See it, being outplayed in an equal end game, or, not knowing the sort of the proper configuration of pieces, in this kind of structure or something like that. And also Kyron's used to, there's also something called strategic thinking, I think, that where in an end game, players start, the chess master starts using kind of like, okay, this is a goal, then this is a goal, and then this is a goal, and the tactics are take a back seat. And progress is made in these incremental ways.
So here we're moving to
and this is exactly what I said. This is what I said. Black took with the bishop, then the knight, and after knight f5 played bishop f6. It's like I had X-ray vision. I'm proud of myself.
You're seeing it all. But
so the problem now is white. What's white going to do here? Black's on the b2 pawn, and also can relieve a lot of pressure by just taking on f4. Once white defends that threat. If queen d5, black has an immediate draw with queen c3 check, queen b2 check, if he wants, and maybe could play for a win. So Elliott plays c3, and now if I'm white, I'm like, why did I sacrifice the pawn to get this?
And again, you're assuming it was a sacrifice. He might have just hung it. Straight.
No, I don't think so. I think Elliott didn't have this as well thought out as he could have, I think.
Well, I mean, but he's got
a little sequence here.
All right,
Black has no problems after knight takes f4. I mean, maybe white will regain the pawn at d6, but that's going to be it.
Let's go back to board one. We've had a few moves played, but
well, black has accomplished something here, and that something is that it's exchanged the knight for the bishop, and now it's a bishops of opposite color, getting to be rather drab here.
Yeah, I mean, do you think,
I mean, I'm trying to think of what the players can play for. If I'm white, I still have a little bit of space advantage. Notice how both bishops are nice bishops, but ineffective, right? The black bishop is operating outside its own pawn chain, but it's just hitting down on Black can play a minority attack, a sort of a minority attack, maybe on the queen side, but it's, by playing c5 at some point, but it carries risks too.
Let me check in on this game between Satvik Krishnan and
Not
Rohan
much going
Das.
on here. These players might agree to a draw before long.
It would probably suit them both if that was the result.
Yeah.
And then take their chances with the rest of the field. So what do you think? Satvik and Rohan?
Well, white can take the exchange by playing bishop takes a8 here.
And
then
did that.
And then I don't think black has enough. Yeah. I mean,
that's probably just a mistake, huh?
Well, actually, I just saw that there was a bishop at e4, which was threatening the queen and the rook. So, white could play carefully with king h2 here, and
right.
That should be sufficient. Or maybe could play a takes b5 and try to just kind of polish him off right away. But king h2 looks sufficient here. I don't think black has enough.
Let's take a look at this game here.
Queen f3 is a good-looking move.
Nathan, and PJ Leotino. And for those of you following the broadcast, you notice at the bottom we have a donation button, and that is for our Scholastic program. So all the free programs that we offer in San Francisco Public Schools, we're going to continue them through the fall, except we're doing them online. And if you would like to help support us expanding our enrichment programming in San Francisco Public Schools, click on that donate button. Every little bit helps. $5, whatever. Every single penny goes to providing virtual enrichment programming into San Francisco Public Schools that could definitely use some virtual enrichment programming. And we're really excited about the power of chess to be able to provide that. And we have coaches ready to go. So if you want to show your support and love for the Mechanics Institute, there's no better way to do it than to donate to a cause that all the proceeds go directly to help kids. So that's my little sales pitch. You'll hear it a few more times.
I'll drink a cup of coffee to that.
You'll hear it a few more times before the day is out. But we're really excited. We're getting a lot of responses from schools because our programming is going to start up again. And we're just really excited. I mean, we would love to do everything live and in person, of course, but thankfully with chess, it's something that we can continue to do virtually. So we should be thankful for that. All right, let's go. Let's go back.
This is going well for whites. This is going well. This is going somewhat well for white now.
Now, do you think this is better than, because it looked like PJ was under a lot of pressure? Do you think the pressure is still there for white on black, or has black alleviated some of it?
White's played this nice rook b1 idea, and white was going to get into some trouble if they didn't have this. In fact, I think black shouldn't have taken on b2 and should have played rook d4, attacking the bishop, and then played rook takes f4. Went after the wrong pawn here, and now black looks like black is in a little bit of trouble here.
Switching games.
So this was just a question of looking a little bit ahead.
Here we have Elliot Winslow against Kritin Gopalakrishnan.
Okay, so black took on f4 and then played bishop e5, and white's played queen g5. So black really wanted to hang on to that extra pawn, and decided to waste a tempo by playing bishop e5. And now the question is, does white have some kind of attack because of that?
And
white needs to sort of show something here.
And in the chat, Ditya Cheetah won.
Nice. What's his score now?
I'm not sure. Actually, I'm not friends with him, so I can't go to his game, but I can go to the game of Dad. Let me pull that up.
This is a father and son who are playing chess that I know pretty well, and the son is quite talented, and the father is, crazy about chess. So this is it's an interesting.
And Rama is playing Anna Mercado, so let's go to that game.
Sure.
And Rama has just played Bishop H2 check.
Okay. The classic bishop sacrifice, and accepted as well. And now it looks to me like black is getting something going here. Oh, black better hope. How did this rook end up on a6? I'm not sure, but obviously coming up is knight g4 check, and then queen h4.
But can you run away? G1, F1.
Well, knight g4, king g1, queen h4 threatens. You can't play king f1.
Yeah.
F2,
F2. Yeah.
So you have to play something like bishop e1.
And Aditya, by the way, 2.5 out of 5.
Nice.
2.5 out of 5, which is
all right. Is this his first grown-up chess tournament?
I think so.
Yeah,
I think so.
We were encouraging him.
So he's got to play king g3 here, right?
Well, no, king g1's still possible. I mean, queen h4, bishop e1.
Oh, he played g3.
Queen h2, king f1. Oh, he plays king g3 without a second thought. Well, I would have thought that, with 22 minutes, I think I would have spent some time on that.
Well, we call him Action Adam Mercado for a reason, and maybe this is it.
So black can play h5 or queen g5 here, or f4 check. I guess queen g5 looks right in this position. And then it's scary for white.
Let me check in on Theo Biasis and Jonah
Bush. New analysis style. Jonah Bush he knows his openings. I've noticed that. He's not getting into, he's playing strong openings.
Yeah, and he plays the Alekhine frequently. He's one of the few players where I've seen him, besides me, to no success whatsoever.
I mean, you got to think that black is doing well here. With the two bishops and an open board and everything. Yeah. I think black has won the opening battle
and
here.
Good bishops.
Yes, knight d5, queen d8. Queen can go back to g8, attacking the knight at g5. I mean, even if white picks up the pawn on d4, which is quite possible, black is going to have huge development, open lines for the rooks, slashing diagonals for the bishops. You've got to like black here. So,
all right, let's check in on board 1, which is shaping up to be a positional battle for sure.
Okay, so black has decided not to just sit around and do nothing.
Right.
Whereas I think white maybe has been a little more.
And that's because of the pawn pushes, right? On A.
Yeah, I mean, b5 is a little bit of a committal move. I don't think it's necessary for black to do that. If white decides to play c4, then white's going to be weakening her d4 pawn. So black decided to upset the balance a little bit by playing b5. Probably no harm done. White can just, in a sense, black does have the initiative here, being able to play pawn to b4, but nothing can really come of this if white's careful.
Let me do
bishop swaps the colors. Everything's going to boil down to that, and white would have to make some really bad moves, I think. Which is, of course, always possible.
Look at this game here.
Oh, I thought something like this might happen, where the bishop desperadoed, and this is probably a success for black.
Right.
Definitely.
Because now the pawn structure.
Yeah, the pawns are even, and white's a little bit more active, but only for one move or two. If white doubles rooks, but Yeah. Doubling rooks on the 7th would be good for either player here. It's still kind of close to call. Can black play rook d4 here, threatening the pawn at f4 and pawn at a4? I mean, it looks to me, I guess then one of the white rooks comes up to b4. Okay.
And
yeah,
here we have a very special guest.
Hi guys.
Hi, Judith.
How are you?
Hanging in there.
Everyone is enjoying the games, hopefully.
Yes. How's the TD side?
TD side is all good. Every game is going good. We had a few no-shows, like Arul Vishwanathan is the no-show, and Barbara
really?
Goodkind. So I'm trying to track them down if they are coming back.
Right.
But all other games are going good, and I just paired the two people up who were waiting for those two people for the other two no-shows, and they are playing an extra game. Yep.
Good for them.
Yeah.
Let me switch. There we go. A little bit better.
Anyway, so everything looks good, and
well, this has been a kind of a slow start to the round. There's been no exciting fireworks really so far.
no exciting fireworks.
No blood on the ice yet.
No, actually, this black has done well now out of this opening.
Nice.
White, I think, has played a few careless moves, and black's gotten kind of a little bit of a grip on the dark squares. I'm not sure what white did wrong here.
Judith, we can announce sort of big news for the online world that we had the delegates meeting, the U.S. chess delegates meeting online, which you and I are both members.
Yeah.
And they passed to add to the USCF rule book. Why don't you tell us a little bit? Well, you can, because you were a big part of making that happen.
Yeah, so as probably many of you know, the current rule book has a chapter 10, which gives a little bit of guidance for online play, but not really. So USCF put together a task force. There were 7 of us, and I was honored to be invited in that group. And we basically rewritten chapter 10 and proposed this to the delegates. And rules can only be updated if the delegates meeting at the delegates meeting once a year, and the delegates have to vote it for 85%. Yes. So it has to pass by 85%. So
probably a good chance that it will.
And it did.
Well, it passed 88%.
Oh, so okay. Oh, wow. Okay. Sorry.
I mean, there was a point where I was seriously. I don't know when I was.
We were sweating it out. We were sweating.
Yeah, we were. I was
well,
sweating.
Congratulations. That means the tournament directors is now clear guideline. Like.
Yeah. Yeah, so it takes effect September 1st, and there are clear guidelines, and it's a good thing. It's a very good thing for organizers, for everyone.
And Jonah Bush has defeated Theo Biasis. Let's take a look at the ending here.
Yeah.
There. We saw.
Anyway, I just checked in. Let me check back, you guys, when we are pairing, and when I pair, then I'll come back then. Okay.
Sounds good.
Congratulations,
Judith,
for helping write the book.
Thank you. Well,
that's right, the rule book.
Thank you so much, rule book.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, I'll be back. Just wanted to check in quickly. Okay.
All right.
Bye.
And let's transition this back. There we go.
So this happened, knight d5 and queen d8 or queen d6 was
queen
played.
d6, queen f3.
Queen f3 is a blunder. Yeah.
There. That's it.
Because if queen e4, bishop f5, and
you're gonna lose the knight.
And then if queen d4, knight f3 check.
Yeah.
And that's after, go back a move.
Here. More.
Just one move. Yeah, here we go. I mean, white could just play knight f4 here and knight d3. I mean, maybe white's a little worse. But that's after 3 minutes thought. You'd think that knight e5 would be the first thing sort of you'd look at.
Yeah,
Because it attacks the queen, you know.
just didn't happen here.
Whoa.
Let's take a look at this game with Monster.
Good, congratulations, Jonah. That's a
Nice
big
win.
victory.
Yeah, that's a big win against a tough player. And here we are with Mansour Mohammed and Pranav Sairaran. Although,
So black still might be in some trouble here after knight with the knight here. The knight can go to f3 and then to d4, and then the resulting position might be still good for white with the better bishop. That's a very complex position. It's gotten more complex in the last. It's difficult to say what exactly should happen here. Black could think about playing g5 as well.
all right, let's take a look at Elliot Winslow's game, because I'm starting to be convinced that it was a sacrifice and not a pawn drop, because it looks like he's putting some pressure on.
Oh my goodness. Black has got to be now rook queen g6. I think f6 is a blunder. Queen g6 is just a shot.
Queen g6.
Yeah, queen g6. If h takes
That's right. Yeah.
if rook h3 mate,
Yeah.
I think f6 is a blunder.
Wow.
And Elliot's not going to miss a move like that.
Queen g6. He'll miss a mate in one, but he's not going to miss queen g6.
Well, actually, there might be some things that could happen along the way. I mean, black doesn't have to take the queen, of course, but and white's not actually threatening queen h7 check.
Now the thing is that by him playing f6, now he can't play knight d7 because g7.
f6 just looks like a panicky move.
And
Well,
there-
queen g6, and look, he plays it
Yeah.
without much thought.
Yeah, a lot of pressure.
Is the threat queen takes h7 check? That's the big question.
And
King h7, rook h3, king g6, knight h4 check? Maybe. Yeah, so quite a I mean,
And then-
f6 was panicky. It didn't look right.
And someone asks why queen g6, because if pawn takes on g6, rook h3 is mate because of the
It's
bishop on
actually
c4.
mate, yeah.
The bishop on c4 takes away g8.
And you're right, queen h5, but then black could play pawn to g6. But then white, and white can't play queen takes g6, hg6, rook h3 because of rook h7. It resembles the end of a famous Alekhine versus Emanuel Lasker game, I think, 1934, 1935.
Let me look at. I'm going to peek in this
This
game.
obviously has rocked black on his heels. He did not expect that.
So Solias appears up a piece against Javier Silva, but Javier Silva looks like he's completely infiltrating white. Does black have anything here?
Well, black looks like he wins back the exchange with bishop c8. The problem is white still, just winning the exchange, white's going to have this pass pawn at a pass pawn on the king that's running down, right? I mean, there's no room for the white rook, so just play pawn h5, bishop h3, rook h3, and there's some trouble there for black, it looks like.
Very interesting game. Let's take a peek at the top board with Kyron Griffith and Rui.
There was a really interesting possibility in this game after Kyron played pawn a5 much earlier, where Rui could have played pawn a4, and Kyron is playing is playing to win this game here, and is tying Rui down.
So Mania is in the chat asking if you have a guitar in the background, if you could play a tune.
Yeah, I'll play Waltzing Matilda or something.
So we're
Maybe
working
one
on that.
day one day when we're bored, we'll. How about
Hey.
the funeral march?
So viewers, Judith put a stop to the madness and ordered Paul a headset. So he should be getting that this week. So by next week, you should see Paul look like he has a football helmet on his head with a little mic on it.
Yeah.
And
I'm hoping for something with goggles and
ready to like
ears.
go to outer space. But we are handling that problem. So we expect by next week we should.
So I won't be sounding like I'm in a bar tunnel.
Hey, let's go to this game here between.
Kyron is playing a great game. Look at this.
This is Rama and Adam Mercado. Adam Mercado's white. He's up material, but he's also got his king marching towards the middle of the board. So
Right. So let's see. If King F2, Queen H4, or maybe just knight back to G4, maybe the players are going to agree to a draw. I don't know.
let's go to Ashik Uzaman and Chelsea Zhu. Ashik looks up a pawn.
Oh, this is a tough position, though. I mean, yeah, it's true. Black has two connected pass pawns over there. Maybe that's enough. It's difficult. White's very actively placed here, but Black is ready for Bishop C5. Somehow you think this should go in Black's way for Black, but it's still a lot of complications. There's going to be some bumps in the road here.
So let's go back to board one, because you were mentioning that Kyron is playing well right here.
Well, sort of like achieving strategic aims, putting the pressure on here. White's rooks are in passive places. Black's rooks are in active places. It's kind of a bit of a full pressed here by Black, and like I said, there was a really interesting possibility for White to play A4 when Black played A5, and some interesting tactics earlier. And White decided to play B4, and that was another decision that maybe all these things have to be closely looked at. Black has been allowed to get a lot, and Roy might be right. This is just not going to lead to a win, but Black is pressing, and I'd be a little worried if I was White here.
Let's go check board two and Mansour Mohammed. And I'll give a little shout out to Hyperdude21, who's a student of Lauren Goodkind. And Lauren Goodkind was on Jen Shahadi's podcast. So congratulations to her. She got to promote her book and what she's up to. And we're big fans of Lauren. So nice to see her get interviewed in the chess world.
Yeah. So Black plays G6. Black's playing a nice active game here in this game, and White's not been quite as careful. Although let's see. Yeah, I'm not sure that White maybe shouldn't have taken on G6 and then played Bishop E3, because then White would gain the C5 square. Still, Bishop E3 looks like the right move here. Might be a little tough for Black and now the knight's out of play. How is the Black knight going to get back in the game? It's almost starting to look a little bit comical. Almost.
Speaking of well, it's not comical, but it's a wild game. Let's do a check-in on Javier Silva, who got some of his material back, it looks like. and still
So this is what
pressing.
Why is white playing pawn to b3 instead of pawn to h6? Is not clear to me. Maybe there's some possibilities of getting mated with, I mean, pawn h6. Why waste a move on the king side? I'm not sure. White's close to winning this, obviously, with that pawn just.
Oh man, marching down.
Yeah, I mean, pawn h6. Black is in serious trouble. But white didn't have to play pawn to b3. Maybe it was good. The
nice little trap right there, though, too, right? The f1.
Yeah, the rook on h3 is well placed, really well placed. Here comes the pawn.
Yeah.
Black has only one move, and that's rook f8.
And Solis has been really nursing his time. I mean, he's got,
Well, it's time well spent. White is
exactly.
winning.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what you want to do, is use your time up to get a winning position, right? And then
ideally,
the moves flow after that. That's kind of the goal. If you have a winning position and 30 seconds with an increment, you can and a technical win, you can
close it out. Yeah.
And white is done. Now knight f5 check just wins. The knight's trapped at f1, and you're threatening knight takes e3. And you don't even need time left on your clock.
And then the bishop's covering h7.
Yeah, so. That's it.
All right, let's go back to the top board.
Well played by. So Roy decided to do nothing, and she's under pressure. Whether black can win or not is another story. Would be a long road to victory here.
Yeah, but we know Kyron's prepared to take it.
Black can play king c7 and then bring the rook around and play g5 and g4 or something. I'm not sure.
And Solis did win that game against Javier Silva. So big win for Georgios.
Yeah. Some tough games this round. Nobody's giving an inch.
And let's go
to blunders.
Here's Elliot Winslow's game.
Oh yeah, let's go back to this. Wow. Okay, black is on the run now. Elliot gets a mating attack with queen h7 check, probably looking for something even quicker. Bishop d5 check. Wow, black has really messed up. I'm sure white's winning this without any problem now.
Yeah, it looks pretty.
And bishop d5 check and rook takes and then rook takes h7. What can black do? It's game over. The threat is rook h8 mate. How can black even get out of that?
Let me take a look at this game here between.
It looks like 3 or 4 or something like that.
Satvik Krishnan and Rohan Das.
Whoa!
Because Rohan Das, I think, has come back because he was down the exchange previously.
Well,
although White's about to queen.
White's about to queen, so black needs something here, and that's. Although black can just exchange and play rook b7, but then rook f8 check.
Right, rook f8 check.
And then
you're back where you started, right?
Well, what does that position look like? Trade and rook b7, rook f8 check, king h7. The black pawns are vulnerable.
Or is there a way to not even worry about that? I mean, is there a way to say queen h1, let him promote, and then you have some kind of attack? I guess it won't matter. Because
queen g2, king e1. I'm not sure it worked. All right, black has to play rook b7. Black decides to get fancy with the bishop check first. That's reasonable. Sort of giving white a choice to make and time pressure to be on the king side or queen side. King d2 makes sense.
So now we're even material.
Yeah, this has been a failure for Black, who was for White,
For
who I
White.
think was winning
White.
this. Yeah, and now this is a problem for Black, though. This is a problem. I mean, you don't want to play Rook B5 here. That's just terrible. And you're going to lose. You would lose something in the long run. This is an issue.
I'm going to flip
For
to
Black.
board 1 here.
Not easy, but he does play Rook B5. And White turns to G7 as a target and can also play Rook C7.
So here we are at board 1. Elliot Winslow did win that game against Kriton Gopalakrishnan.
Wow. So Black has... White's made some attempt to free her game here.
Right, kind of opened up the rooks by opening up the king side, it looks a little bit.
And
the bishop, too.
Not helping the cramp, you know?
Yeah.
It's not helping the cramp. Although it does exchange, a pawn has been exchanged. It's still going to be difficult for Black to win this.
So Elliot's in the chat.
Hi, Elliot.
Saying, oh, well. So...
I like the way Chiron's playing, though. You know, he's playing to win. And now Rook A2 with the 7th rank, and which White can't oppose on at the moment. And then, you know, it's still going to be difficult, though. You know, White's going to counterattack on E6 with her rooks.
And I think that's the thing too, is that Rui is, you know, an attacking person herself. So I think it's in the blood to try to look for an opportunity and then take it.
Right. Well, something went wrong in the middle game for White, and she'll have to take a look at that to figure this out. But I mean, White might be able to still hold, or is still holding actually. But you don't want to be in a situation where you're just, you know, playing for a draw.
So for entertainment's sake, let's look at Ramachita here and Adam Mercado.
Wow. Black has been attacking with the queen and the knight now. And with the rook out again, of course, Black has tremendous compensation here.
Yeah, and
look at this.
a piece for 3 pawns.
If king takes E3, queen H3 check, wins the queen at B3. So Black is crashing through here. The threat is if rook G2, queen E4 mate. This is looking fantastic for Black.
And Rama's got 3 minutes and change left on the clock. Adam's got 14, so he's using that time
So
now.
far, it's time well spent with Black. You know, White's on the ropes here. That's what it looks like.
Let's do a quick peek on board 2.
Yeah, that rook on A6 looks great. I know, but
this is a pretty interesting game with Pranav Sairam and Mansour.
yeah, there have been all kinds of funny decisions made in this game. I mean, Black's knight is out of the game forever on H4 as long as the White king sort of stays on G3.
And now White's got a nicely placed knight
And
on
now
C5.
the knight comes to C5.
E6.
Black is in trouble. Black is in some kind of trouble here.
Yeah, that is a powerful knight. And Pranav knows that, and that's why he's playing what he does. Quick peek back on board 1 because we're approaching that crunch time.
So this is what White's going to do, put pressure as Black,
Uh-oh.
you know. Oh, bishop G4.
Uh-oh.
We overlook that.
Yeah.
This is a game that's a winning shot right there, I think. Now bishop E5.
Should be 5, right?
And the bishops of opposite colors are not going to save her. White's lost.
Is that...
Just careless play by White, I think, and not appreciating the dangers. Chiron is really showing.
Oh, wow, look at that.
Oh, even rook c3, that's
Wow,
even
yeah.
better.
Yeah, it just picks up another pawn because you could take F3
Yeah,
with
bishop
check.
e5 would have been good enough.
Wow.
Chiron is really showing some of the players here some class here with with the end game, especially the end game. It's just
and
stuff
Kyron
that,
he had an outstanding performance in the Blitz Tournament of the Americas. I mean, he grinded out a nice win against Greg Shahade in a position that looked even.
No, I mean, this is I've just taught my endgame class, and what I'm seeing is that grandmasters are good at endgames, but world champions are incredible at endgames. You want to become a better endgame player. Start with Steinitz and just work your way to Carlsen. And there's a few other players you can throw in there like Rubinstein, and all the top, very, very top players like Korchnoi and so on and so forth. But this is what's separating, and down at this level too. Kyron is just clearly a better endgame player than 99% of the players that he's facing so far.
Fantastic win. Let's. It looks like a win. The game's not over yet, but
yeah,
he's
this
definitely
is a win for
in
White,
control.
for sure.
Let's go to Mansour's game, which is the board 2. And Lucy's here wanting to hang out for a little bit, so we're gonna let her hang out.
So now the question is, how does White? White's got this beautiful bind, but you still have to win the game. I guess you start with something. Again, it's a schematic thinking that you want to get going here. So you want to prevent the knight from getting into the game. So but you want to bring the king into the center. So maybe play f3, rook g1, king f2, and king e3, and then the knight can't get back into the game, and then you try to play for d4, or maybe you can just play c3 and d4 and forget all about that. Double rooks on the d file, that might win too. And Black's in trouble here with this knight stuck out there on h4.
So let me do a peek in on this game that we hadn't been looking at for a little bit. Ashik Uzman and Chelsea Zhu, and it looks like Chelsea's got the queen and marching the pawns down. Ashik's got the rook and the bishop, but
this has got to be a win for White.
Yeah.
I mean, that pawn, it's the pawn at f6 that just says it all here. I mean, can't White just play pawn f7 and then make another queen? I mean, you could play queen h7 check, but why bother? It'll just mean, just play pawn f7 and make a queen. Elliot had the idea of playing king h3 and queen h6 mate, but Black can play rook c3. Well, this is lost. That's it.
We're
just
gonna
make a new queen.
Let's go to Rama and Adam Mercado as games are starting to drop off here.
Well, I think White's probably done well to avoid the mate, but now this could be a great position for Black if he can untangle things on the, especially get that rook back into the game. And that's clearly the issue here for Black. And now there's another problem for Black though here is, how does c6 work? Rook takes c6, I suppose, and hanging on.
Sorry, I kind of just doing a check-in here. It looks like Kyron's in control of this game.
Yeah. Nothing much has changed here.
This is sort of the game to watch right now. Mansour Mohammed and Pranav Sairam.
Well, Elliot has,
You figured this out?
c3 and d4. So somebody's saying, look at board 7.
That's Elliot's.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah,
all right.
We did look at your game, Elliot. Yeah.
All right, here we go.
Nice game. Although clearly black, and it looked to me like the black's mistake was playing bishop e5, and maybe should have just given that d6 pawn up.
I wonder if Elliot didn't realize we were actually watching that game.
Yeah, no, we love that queen g6 move. We were really happy to see you play that.
We showed you the love, Elliot. Don't worry.
Yeah. You didn't overlook a mate and one.
Yeah. And I was, Paul was saying that you sacrificed a pawn. I thought you just hung the pawn, and so I was proven wrong.
Black played well, and then should have just let the pawn at d6 drop and brought the knight out. Yeah,
so let's check. Let's check here. Kaylin Melville, who's black, against Ayan Zaman, and it looks like Ayan just got it done.
Wow, this kid is improving.
Yeah, because he's gonna. Yeah.
The knight's lost.
Knight's lost, and then.
Yeah. And so black has to play rook b8, but then queen a5, I suppose, or some variation of that.
Yeah, and he's already.
Wow, good game.
Yeah.
Ayan is playing like a monster suddenly.
Good job. Yeah.
It's fun to see these father-son teams.
Look at this. Somehow Satvik got material back, and now here we are.
Well, this should probably end in a draw. Certainly this should be a draw, unless somebody blunders here.
Yeah, and this is the Tuesday night marathon.
I mean, white can take on h4 and give up the bishop, and that's a good decision. Actually, if king f4, pawn to b7, look at that. It's pinned. The bishop's pinned. Yikes, what did black do? Black blundered here horribly. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Shouldn't have taken the bishop. Should not have taken the bishop. Amazing. So well, is rook e1 possible? No, the pawn queen's with check. Yeah.
Yeah, that bishop take. Oh, queen's with check. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to play
over.
King
takes f4. Was a mistake.
Wow.
And with all the time that black had, that's just, b7 is not a hard move to overlook.
Now Rohan in the tank. Let's check in quick on
board two. Bill, turn around there. So, this is a tale of two knights here. The bad knight at h4 and the good knight at c5. How unfortunate for black.
Yeah.
Somehow, I believe white should win this. I'd start off probably by playing rook d4.
Would black want to try something? Well, maybe a rook d4. Yeah, that's tough though. Rook d4, and what about rook g8 for black?
Then knight takes a6. Yeah. If you play g4, I'll take your horse on
take
h4.
The horsey.
Yeah.
Dude.
People are talking about Marshall's famous game in the same breath that they're talking about Elliot Winslow's game today. I'm not sure that there's some kind of sacrilege involved there.
It was a good win, but you were probably helped along. Yeah, a little help. Wow.
And black is, white should just be careful here and play pawn f3. So what's black going to do? Play rook back to a8.
And this is our board 2 right now.
And then pawn to d5 or something.
Kyron Griffith won.
Hey, guys.
Hey.
Kyron, you are totally showing your endgame class here.
Fantastic,
against the opposition. Time and again, we're just seeing experts and masters falling to your excellent schematic feel for the end game. That's what it is. I mean, it's just really a difference between you and your opposition, I think.
And you played the Caro-Kann. Did you have some kind of thinking in doing that? Was there a strategy?
Yeah, I just wanted a more solid position this time. Paulo has talked about how Rui and I are great attackers, and I think she's a great attacker, and I'm not so sure I am anymore. So I've started playing a little bit more solidly recently, and I think it's been working out well for me. So
it's definitely been working out for you. But don't you get a heart attack? Like, because what you're doing is you're just kind of waiting for that moment and keeping everything solid, and then you get the opportunity and then you take it.
But on the other hand, I was never really in danger of losing, so that kind of takes some pressure off, which is nice. Like, I don't, at the end of the day, I don't really mind a draw that much, but I kind of get to play on with very little risk. So
let's look at we haven't peeked at this game. Let's take a look at this real quick. This is Christian Clemens and Patrick Liu, and it looks like Christian got it done. So there you have it.
H2 man. Yeah, that was a nice game, Karen. I mean, there was a point there. What about in your game where she played after you played A5? Could she have played A4? Did you look at and then?
No, but I think I went a pawn because I. Are you saying after I went rook back to A8 and she plays?
Yeah, there was some point where you played A5 and then she could have maybe tried A4. I just looked at it very briefly.
Yeah. I was more worried about maybe lead with rook A1, like after rook A8, maybe you go rook A1 and then A4 at some point, because I think immediately I end up winning a pawn, so it's probably still drawn even after I win the pawn, but at least I'm playing for something. But I actually wasn't that convinced my position was that good when I went rook back to A8, because maybe she should just go rook A1 there. There was just maybe what do you think it was, like a lack of a sense of danger on her part or something like that? Or I mean, it's kind of tough because her position hasn't been like, her position is completely solid, but it's not always easy to figure out which piece to shuffle back and forth, and I think she ended up shuffling the wrong one, and then I think can be difficult to understand how you sort of drift into these positions. But you're certainly showing your class by winning a lot of what maybe just better end games. I mean, they are better for you, and the players have to sort of show that they can draw it, and you're winning a good percentage of them. It's really And congratulations for your result in that Blitz tournament. That is
that was amazing. That was really a great game against Greg Shahade. We were watching that, like, my goodness.
I got up and did a fist pump after that one. That was
no.
Glad to take him down.
Yeah, he's a tough player to play. Yeah, I mean, but time for third in that field with all those grandmasters and everything, that was fantastic.
Thanks. Yeah, it was weird.
I really proud of you.
And thanks. And somehow kind of got great positions out of every game, and drew a couple and won a few, and just didn't end up losing any in the backstretch, which is great.
So Shashwath Sivakumar is in the chat asking Kyron, how do you prepare the Caro-Kann? Because I kind of want to learn it too. I play the Najdorf, which gets too complicated at times, so I want to have a simple line, fallback line.
He's in the exact same situation as I was, because there's so many lines against the Najdorf, and it's just like, especially with like a full-time job, I can't even begin to remember them all. And so I've actually been really happy with my Caro-Kann results so far, and might pick up another kind of more solid line as well. But there's some courses out there. I've been working through Erwin Lami's Caro-Kann course a little bit. So I've got some ideas from there, some ideas I came up with. But it's really great because it's not a lot of memorization. It's just ideas, and I think that definitely benefits people with less time to study, for sure.
Right.
You have to be economy with your time.
Yeah, I figured the ROA on it was a little bit better. I actually think if you take all your time you spend on learning the Najdorf and you just learn the Caro and just get really good at tactics, I think that'd probably be a better return on investment even.
Interesting.
Not
Yeah,
to
and
not to
like-
hate on the Najdorf. I've been playing for forever, so.
So I
And preparing little lines like pawn a6, for example, that are sort of that helps too, I think.
Yeah.
and it looks
Yeah,
like,
well, it's nice because in the Najdorf, if you play some like time-wasting move like that, you're just gonna lose. But in the Caro-Kann, it's not like white has to know what to do in order to get like a slight edge. So it's and it's like a long-lasting edge. It's not something that's gonna blow you out of the water. So
White. Somebody's asking about this game, but this is just a crush for white. And so,
yeah, like
yeah. So
yeah.
I think you're looking at your opponent for the next round.
Cool.
So have you played Pranav before?
I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure we have in a few of these either blitz or rapid tournaments.
the weekly.
Tough
Well-
game for Mansour, who started that game off well and then somehow drifted, and that's what happens.
And
sometimes.
we just got like a couple of game. Oh yeah, that's not a game in the tournament. So we may be done with all the games. Kyron, I know you want to grab
I
some
want to
drink.
ask
or you-
Kyron one more.
Yeah.
I want to ask Kyron one more thing. I mean, what's your ambition? You're playing so well. You know, you could be an international master probably with just the right amount of tournaments and stuff like that. And do you have any IM norms?
He's got a couple.
I have one, and I'm 50 points off the rating, and I definitely feel like I'm playing as best as I have ever. So it's definitely frustrating to not be able to get out there right now and go for some norms.
Right. Yeah.
yeah.
No, I've seen your game take an uptick, and I think I love seeing these end games. I mean, I really do. They're so instructive. I mean, you're teaching everybody who's watching just the way you're playing is really it's nice. It's good chess.
Yeah, everybody is a big fan of yours watching your games, so it's kind of fun to watch.
Yeah, the course is on Chessable. It's called Lifetime Repertoires Caro-Kann. It's but I mean, there's a lot of really good ones out there, but I really like this one that I've been working through.
Very cool.
Cool. Yeah.
FIDE Master.
Nothing succeeds like success.
Kyron Griffith, 5-0, heading into the next round, which will start in about 15 minutes.
Yeah.
We'll let you get going, and we'll watch you on board one, likely against Pranav Saran.
Yeah, Elliot's talking about Gary's doing one on the French. I think it just came out, so check that one out too. I mean, yeah, these are.
We have a lot of
French is the way to
opening discussion here in the chat.
All right, guys. Thanks for
That's
having me
why I'm
on.
not talking about
Good
it.
luck in the next round. We'll be
I
watching.
could barely recognize a Caro-Kann if I saw one.
Hit you in the face. All right,
See ya.
FIDE Master Kyron Griffith, 5-0 in the Tuesday night marathon. It's got a tough opponent coming in the next round, Pranav Saran. So
I'm going to take a 5-minute break here.
Yeah, you do your break, and we are approaching the 6th round of the Tuesday night marathon, and coming off a great weekend of chess on Sunday, we had the Blitz Tournament of the Americas, which was a 9-round, completely free, titled players only Blitz event, and you can watch that on our YouTube channel. We have the video uploaded. Amazing turnout for that. It was won by Juan Carlos Obregon from Cuba. And then in second place was Grandmaster Conrad Holt of the United States. And tied for third was International Master Andrew Hong and FIDE Master Kyron Griffith. So he's playing fantastic chess, and we have to give a shout out while we can. Mechanics Institute trustee, chess committee chair, and 2-time U.S. champ Patrick Wolf played in that tournament and went on a tear in the beginning, won his first 3 games, got paired with Conrad Holt, and defeated Conrad Holt in his game, which was a huge win. The rest of the rounds didn't have the same success, but he was playing fantastic chess, and he's someone that doesn't play tournaments very often, so we're really happy and excited that he played that tournament. And it was exciting to see him play at the level that he played, and a big win against Conrad Holt. That was Holt's only loss. And Conrad Holt defeated the eventual winner in his game. So exciting tournament for that. So we've been doing a lot of chess. And just when you thought you couldn't get enough chess, we have on the weekend of August 29th and August 30th, we have the Blitz tournament. Not the Blitz tournament of the Americas. We have Chess Fest 2020, Mechanics Institute Summer Chess Festival. We're going to have a 2-day, 6-round game in 60 with 5-second increment event. And Judith's saying the last game is finishing up, and she'll put the pairings online soon, and I'll just put the link here. Also in the chat, we have Erica Malikan asking to follow her stream. She's a mechanics player. She's jumping into the waters of streaming. So if you wanted to check her out, do not check her out while we're doing the Tuesday night marathon. But anytime after that, feel free. But anyway, in 2 weeks, Summer Chess Fest, we have a 6-round main event. It's 2 days, 3 rounds, a Saturday, 3 rounds Sunday. We'll have a $1,400 prize pool based on 80 entries. And in 3 sections, we'll have a 2,000 plus section, a 1,600 to 1999, and then an under 1,600. So if you want to get in on that action, let me pull up that link. It's going to be a big event. We have Grandmasters committed to playing that event. So that's going to be an exciting 2-dayer. So get in on that, and let me put the link up there. And it's a chess festival, so that's not the only event that's going to go down. We will also have, on that Saturday night, we're going to have the Blitz Championship, the Summer Blitz Championship. That's a 9-round game 3+2. And then on Sunday night, we're going to have a Summer Fisher Random tournament. So all those events, and that one's completely free, open to anyone. So several events over that weekend. And then we're going to have on Sunday also on Chess Kid, our Scholastic Summer Championship. So big chess festival coming up the weekend of the 29th and 30th. The Mechanics Institute is where you want to be for that. Elliot Winslow is asking in the chat when the round 6 pairings are going to be. I had just posted that link in the chat, but Michael Walder also put that link. So if you follow that link, which is the same link that it's been every week, you'll be able to find the pairings when they are up. The standings will be going up shortly, and then the pairings soon after that. I'm looking on the site, and the pairings are still not up as of yet. The one thing we do know is that Kyron Griffith is the only player at 5-0 after his victory there. And 8 o'clock should be the round start time. So, and don't forget, if you're watching the stream, you look on below. We got the donate button there. If you click on that and you want to support the Mechanics Institute, every single penny that is donated goes directly to funding our enrichment program, our after school classes, because we are continuing to provide our free classes locally and virtually. So donate now. Every little bit helps. $5, $1 even. It all adds up. We have a lot of support. Every penny goes to support providing a free enrichment class at a San Francisco public school. We currently have 20 programs. We will continue to do those. We would love to expand, especially now as everyone's online. It'd be a great thing to provide some free chess programming to kids, especially during these times. So show your support if you would love to do that. Where do you record the games? We have the link, but I think you're good. I think Judith's got all the results. But if you don't think we have the result, just throw it in the chat. We'll relay it. I'll let her know. But I think she has all the results because she would have said she's missing something. And I'm looking at the site right now. I think we're still waiting for the updates, and we are still waiting for the updates. Thank you everyone for your patience, because it's not easy to get all the results, and then we got to enter the results into the computer, generate the standings, and then after the standings are generated, upload them, and then pair for the next round. So a lot of behind the scenes work that our chief TD, Dr. Judith Starry, is taking care of. So round 6 of the Tuesday night marathon will be starting shortly. Oh, Paul, you're there.
I'm back.
And it looks like, I think we got some support.
All the games are finished.
We got some support somewhere. Hold on. Yeah, all the games are finished in the round, so we're waiting for the standings, and it is posted now. So I got my dog growling at something. So
Kyron Griffith is no longer with us.
yeah, no, he had to get ready for his game. So at 5-0, Kyron Griffith in first place. At 4.5, the only 4.5 is Pranav Sairam, who just won against Mansour Mohammed. And then with 4 points, we have a tie between Jonah Bush, Daniel Lin, Rui Yang Yan, Ayan Zaman, all with 4 points. And in the under 1600, Pranav Pradeep is just kind of running away with it. He's at 5-0 after his win against Raheem Darcy. So that is up, and the pairings should be up shortly, and they are. So the pairings are up. So on board
All right.
one. Board 1 will have Kyron Griffith against Pranav Sairam. Board 2, Daniel Lin against Rui Yang Yan. Board 3, Jonah Bush and Ayan Zaman. And on board 4, we have Elliot Winslow against Chelsea Zhu. And board 5, PJ Leotino against Christian Clemens. So that will be a really good game. And then the board 1 on the under 1600, Martin Camacho against Pranav Pradeep. So, and we have Judith back.
Hi, guys.
How's it going?
Everything is good. We paired.
Somebody needs to turn down their.
Sounds good. I do. Sorry about it. And I did now, and everything is good. We paired, so hopefully no mistakes in the standings. So I encourage everyone to double check the standings, because I did enter a result incorrectly, and then when I scanned the pairings, I said, "Oh, that doesn't seem right." So
and they
I
let you
did
know
realize
about it right
that.
away.
Yeah.
Well, there's one huge surprise for me is Ayan Zaman. Of course, he got a forfeit. He's gotten a forfeit loss and a forfeit win.
Exactly. So first round it was a forfeit win, and he basically just forgot the second round on the same day, and the dad was playing on this in the different room, so he was really saying, "Oh, I'm sorry," but I guess, and that's the I heard they call it Swiss Gambit, right? When they lose the first or second game, and then they have an easier pairing. So now he has to show what he knows, right?
Right.
So it's going to be fine. I mean, now he's paired against Jonah Bush. That's going to be a very, very tough opponent. So.
And we want to thank Ashik Uzaman for his support of the Mechanics Institute and his support of Scholastic Chess with a contribution. And Ayan's
he donated?
Yeah, he donated, and
we got a donation.
Ayan's having a great tournament. And it's great that he's getting the competition in a tournament like
and
this.
You know what? I'm gonna send. Do you guys? I'll send a message to Ashik if Ayan wants to jump on the broadcast after the game is finished. Maybe he can give a little bit of insight of what's it like to be playing. Such a strong
I think it was at the Mechanics Institute where there was actually an event where they had to play each other.
Really?
They got paired against each other. And I think it was the last round.
Judith, it says you are Kyron Griffith.
Oh yeah, I know. Rohan Dash wants to withdraw. Oh my God. Okay, where is he? Paired. I mean, this is the thing, right? So now I have to see TD. Rohan Dash.
Yeah, TD.
We're seeing the TD at work here.
Okay, so Patrick Liu can be paired with the 4-point buy, or I can repair. I'm not going to repair right now. It's 2 minutes to start. I'm not going to repair, so Patrick will get a 4-point forfeit win, Patrick Liu, and I can offer him an extra with Norsula. So Norsula, if you're watching us, go to the Google Sheet because you might be getting I mean, if you want, you can get, and I'll hang up right now with the Zoom call, and I will call Patrick and see if he wants to have an extra game. Okay. So everyone, we pair in 2 minutes. It's 58 on my computer. We pair in 2 minutes, and then we can hopefully get a good round. Okay.
Sounds good.
We will get a good round.
Okay.
And
Bye.
we will be starting any minute now. Rounds.
2 minutes.
2 minutes. We want to be accurate. We want to be accurate. We want to maintain accuracy. So round 6 will be starting in about 2 minutes, and we have the.
So do you have any dark horses for the tournament?
Well, I mean, if we set Kyron Griffith aside, Pranav Sairam is a tough player, but I mean, if we're talking, true dark horse, I really like Jonah Bush. I mean, he's always been a really solid player. It seems like this tournament in particular, he's showing a little bit of extra stuff.
He's playing Ian Summons, so that's the pairing.
Yeah, and they're both playing really strong. We'll see how it goes, but if there's someone that can break through, I mean, obviously if he gets to say he wins and he gets to Kyron, that's going to be a tough battle. But I mean, if I'm looking at the list, and aside from Elliot Winslow, just because of his experience and skill.
Well, Elliot's far back now with only 3.5 points.
Yeah, but if we're talking about a true dark horse, I like Jonah Bush.
Okay.
As having a shot at being like the U.S. 1980 Olympic hockey team beating Russia.
All right. Well, Jonah's still got to get through Kyron as well.
Well, that's what I mean, right? I mean, but if
Yeah.
we're talking about, a true dark horse,
Right.
it wouldn't be Rui or Elliot, because you would expect that.
That's true. That's true.
Jonah's the one that's, I mean, he beat Theo Biasis, beat Elliot Winslow.
Having an incredible tournament.
Yeah, playing pretty solidly.
Yeah.
So let me take a look. The games have not started yet. So for those that are just tuning in, this Tuesday Night Marathon, it's paired manually. So Chief TD Judith pairs these games manually. By having the tournament structured in that way, we're able to do the pairings in advance, take buy requests, things of that nature, and we're able to pair according to USCF standard rating rather than chess.com rating. So, and this is a USCF rated online tournament. So, pretty unique in that respect, because we don't see a lot of that. Wow. So we had a lot of chess action going on, and we're just getting ready to do it right all over again.
Well, hopefully this round will be as exciting as the last one.
Yeah, towards the end, it got pretty crazy.
Some good games.
All right.
So
The time is 8:01, and we have some of the games started. So
let's check it out.
let's get the show on the road, and I'll be pulling up a bunch of games here. Oops. Oh, that hasn't started yet, so why am I doing that? All right.
I'm going to chew a piece of gum and not talk for 3 minutes.
3, you're putting yourself on probation there. Let's see here. So that game's on. Comes on. And Prana, no, not yet. Sonic. So I'm just turning on every game I can find.
It's funny that some people just have ratings and don't have names.
So there's a setting that Judith can set where instead of putting your username, it puts, your name, your actual name, if you put it in chess.com.
Right.
So the long story short of that is Judith actually has quite a bit of power when it comes to chess.com, in addition to being able to set pairings and what have you. So she's done that so that people can more easily identify who the players are if we're flipping through them. So, all right. So I pulled up a bunch of stuff, but let's go straight to board one. And this is FIDE Master Kyron Griffith against Pranav Sairaam. And here we are.
Okay, so we're getting one of those, White's going to eventually take on f6 here and double the black pawns. And these games, like his game with Biasis from last week, like Kyron's game with Biasis from last week, should be okay for black, but Kyron knows these positions and can squeak out wins in these.
And it seems to be
Black is more solid in this game without the pawn at c5 than in the other game. So bishop f6 just doesn't give White a lot. But I mean, Kyron squeezes blood from a stone, so, and he's got good style lately.
And, Kyron seems pretty content with just building up something solid and then looking to kind of build on that. I mean, doesn't that put you into his mind that, he's willing to just sit there and grind it out and wait for it and take the opportunity, right? And that's kind of fearsome to play against because it's not someone that's he's
plus he's got he's well prepared in openings. He's a well-rounded player that with every aspect of the game sort of under somewhat under control. So that's that's a fearsome player, of course. And most of the players in the tournament don't quite have that whole thing going for them, So
going to board two, this is Rui against Daniel Lin. Daniel Lin being the smiley face.
So black can play bishop f3, and that would force queen f3, I suppose. Queen g4, or maybe even stronger. The threat is queen takes g2 and the threat is queen g2 here. White could even castle. It's possible. And if bishop f3, queen f3, queen g5, queen a8. So.
Yeah, but if you because even if you take the knight, if the queen takes, you can't take the bishop.
And White's not going to be able to avoid black doubling up the pawns, doubling up another set of pawns. So I'm not sure though. The two bishops can often compensate for all these ruptured pawns. It's still up in the air here as to what's exactly is going on. Yeah.
All right, let me move to.
It's a good time to settle into a long think if you're White here. Although castles might be forced. It almost looks forced, castling. Maybe d5 is a possibility.
So I want to give a shout out to James, who's in the chat, sending me a message on a referral from Jude Akers. So hello, and I'll respond to that email. I look forward to learning more. And one of Jude's referral players is doing quite well here in the Tuesday night marathon, and let's take a look at his game. And we're talking about PJ Leotino, who's white here against Christian Clemens. I think he's a scholastic player pushing 2,000. Got a bright future. He's playing white. He's playing mechanics regular Mr. Solid himself, Christian Clemens. So this will be a good matchup.
Well, this is a book position. This is, classic Queen's Gambit declined. Black could play knight c3 and e5 here. I think that's all been seen before. It's just, we're still in the books, I think.
And let me go to this game between Jonah Bush and Ayan Zaman. And did something happen here? Because
White's 2 pawns down.
Yeah.
That's a little distressing. I mean, to be 2 pawns down. And that's
I have to
quickly played.
I have to go to the beginning. So let's take a look at that, because this is somewhat surprising, right? Check.
Bogo Indian.
Okay.
52 is probably not. White's playing too slowly to get a real advantage from it. Well, White not play knight takes c4. This is just, there's a blunder involved there.
Yeah, it probably did not see that. Queen x d4.
Well, it's hard to miss.
I don't know. I mean,
so then what happened?
Yeah, I mean, this is it. We're here. Kind of did not.
But White should have played queen c2. What is e3 is another funny looking move.
Yeah, or
very funny looking move.
Yeah, I don't know if there was some misclick or something, but
yeah, queen c2 looks much better to play knight takes c4 on the next move, and you're down 1 pawn, but you've got some pressure on the. Yeah, I mean, Black could play queen d3 here, even maybe. I guess White will play rook e1, but I mean, White's struggling to get back one of his pawns, one of the 2 pawns that he's lost. Yikes! Something tells me Black is much better here.
So let's go to this game. Yeah. Elliot Winslow against Chelsea Zhu.
Wow, another Najdorf, bishop g5 Najdorf thing. Black has just played knight g4, huh? That's an odd-looking move. I mean, it might be necessary to defend the e6 pawn in some way. There's something look. I don't know. I guess if White plays bishop e7, queen e7, and then Black's threatening knight f2. So.
Let's peek on board 1 here.
Anything, yeah, maybe then queen g3. I don't know. Okay, the same structure as Kyron had in the Theo Biasis game. Same opening, same structure.
Different color.
Black's pawn was on c5 in that other position. White's slightly better, I suppose. Although there's actually, I'm not sure exactly what's going on here. If Black defends the c pawn, then White can win a pawn with knight e6. So
let's go to Rui's game here.
Strange. So White plays d5. That's an enterprising move. I like that move. Black is behind in development here, and this is a serious move, this pawn to d5. It's a fighting move. If queen g2, rook g1, queen h3, there's chances for white to land some kind of blow here. This moves like queen a4 check and even castling on the queen side. Queen g2 is a little risky, but maybe it's the right move for black. Probably. White would like to play queen d8 mate, maybe in some variations. You can always dream.
All right, let's check this one out between Ryan Wang and Theo Biasas. How does that look? Looks like white's looking all right here. No?
Yeah, I mean, this looks like white's putting some pressure on black. That's kind of what it looks like.
Yeah.
It's still, there's hanging pawns in the center. I don't know Theo Biasas, but at all. I just know his dad. I knew his dad, and I've been seeing him sort of a lot of his games, and I think that he needs to sort of cut loose with his chess and start like playing a little bit more enterprising stuff here. I don't know what Ryan Wang's rating is, USCF rating.
Oh yeah, I could look that up. Ryan Wang, 1725.
Right. I mean, to be struggling in the opening, well, not struggling, but just, playing. There's ways of playing the opening where you can sort of make it a little bit more dynamic, I think. And
he's a mix
actually, Theo's dad was famous for playing some of the most pedestrian openings, like the Steinitz defense to the Roy Lopez and stuff like that. And he played against B players and stuff like that. So very unusual style for a grandmaster to have.
Let me switch over to this one. This is Javier Silva and Daniel Perlov.
Well, white's on the attack, but can white land a blow?
And Silva appears up already, like a couple of pawns.
Yeah, and well,
piece.
The pawn hang. Yeah, there's a piece. That's true. What's black got? Not much.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is. I don't know how the piece was won, but I mean, something is going to give here. King g2. White's going straight for the mate. I don't know if that's the right decision. And black can play bishop a4 and probably should here.
Let's go back to top board and Chiron against Pranav Sairam. Now, it looks like
pawn.
Yeah.
And then is down the exchange. Played a positional sacrifice of gave up the exchange. When black played bishop e5, played knight takes c6. Which is a really interesting decision, and probably thought out beforehand. We can see positionally, white has some trumps here. It is up, down the exchange, but every black pawn is isolated or doubled. They're all targets, and there's no way that black rooks can get into the white position. So this is a nice sacrifice.
So this is it right here, and you'll be seeing it on the screen soon. Plays there.
Right, I see it. Yeah. And of course, white can't play knight b8 because of bishop c3. So we get this, and
that's a bold one.
This is like white has a positional advantage here, a large positional advantage.
And positional, why? Five fractured pawns on the black side.
Right. White's pawns are all mobile and connected, blacks are all disconnected and isolated and subject to attack. Black's bishop on e6 is, you could say black has another pawn with that bishop on e6. So,
well, talking about an amateur's
frozen?
mind.
I wonder if I've frozen somehow.
You did
on
not.
the- Interesting.
You're still live
Good.
to the world, probably except to you.
Yeah, except for to myself. My
So
computer.
don't act like you think you're frozen. Let's put it that
Okay.
way.
Yeah.
or say
Both of us-
anything like you.
But I mean, this is. I've looked at some games recently. Karpov, in the endgame class that I taught last night, Karpov just played this incredibly beautiful exchange down, middle game into endgame against somebody, I can't remember who it was, for like 50 moves. He was exchanged down and just played this masterpiece game. And now we're looking at something that could easily be similar. The white just has a dominating position here, and black is going to find it really difficult to improve.
To do
The
something.
problem is when we go to a new game, because we're frozen, I'm not going to see it.
Oh, just
I'll refresh.
Yeah.
I'll refresh my page, and then I'll probably have to go through the advertisement. But I'm doing
yeah. I'll try
doing
to carry you as much as I can. So
Actually, it's my browser itself. Yeah, there we
Okay.
go.
Well, I'm gonna flip a game, and you let me know if you see who's playing. Then
All right, I'll let you know.
so that'll be the test. You got to tell me.
Right now, I'm seeing a Starbucks commercial.
That is not who's playing. Oh, enjoy.
Okay, I'm back, and I see Smiley Face versus Rui.
All right, so you're good. You're good.
Okay. All right, so Roy's decided to keep it closed in order to catch up in development and didn't get experimental with queen takes g2. So, funny how the queens are opposing each other. Do you see that?
That's
Often
right.
in positions like that, there's tactical possibilities. Roy still is in total trouble here. Bishop f5, and then the queen is even close to being trapped.
Right, it's just the
Black
h3.
queen is on a precipice here. But what happens after bishop f5?
Well, she
Black
still
has
has
to play
queen
bishop-
g6, right?
Black has to play bishop c8, and then black is just tied in knots. I don't see how black can get out of this. Smiley face, whoever Smiley face 4 is.
Daniel Lin.
Yeah. Very strong position here after bishop f5. The opening has gone bad for Rui here. And bishop f5 just kind of jumps out at you, unless there's something even stronger. Some way to trap the queen.
Let's take a look at
Bishop f5
bishop
is played.
f5. Yeah.
Roy is in trouble here in this game.
Moving over to Jonah Bush, who's trying to, as best he can, make something good out of what looked like a bad situation.
And he's done well, I think. Look at this. I mean, sacrificed another couple, or still 2 pawns down, but at least there's some action here with the bishops and black behind in development. And so there's some chances.
It's a lot of space, too, that
Yeah, a lot of space.
White has.
But you still have to make something happen. And that's what White's going to be looking to do, is to make something concrete out of this. Being 2 pawns down. But this is what White had to do. So got to give White credit for getting this far. Black has really, stuck to their guns as well. Just, believing in that extra 2 pawns.
Let me move over to Kritin Gopalakrishnan against Kaylin Melville here. It's like Crichton is putting on the pressure.
Yeah, pawn up and everything. This looks dire for black. Really bad.
Look at this.
The knight moves. If the knight moves, some endgame is just going to be lost. It's just there's a pin. This is white's a pawn ahead. This has got to be lost.
Here we have.
Too bad.
Look at
Kalen
this.
is completely on the rocks. Is that how you say it?
On the ropes.
Ropes on the rocks.
But
On the rocks.
he's going to want to have something on the rocks after he's done with it. So here we have Ethan
On the
Go and Adam Mercado.
And Adam Mercado is 1636.
Yeah,
Number 1636.
yeah, it's black. I think that's the rating. No, that's not the rating. I don't know what 1636 represents. He's higher than that.
Okay, so black's the exchange down
Yeah, he's
and
1831.
Needs to get something going here before everything falls apart. And I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing it. I'm looking, I'm not seeing what black's going to do here.
All right, let's go to.
Let's just one more quick look here, because this
sorry.
is actually no. That's all right. That's fine. This is fine. Yeah,
I blew that one.
just beautiful pieces on the white side here, and black just tied in knots.
So
really wonderful.
And this
to
is
watch this.
from a sacrifice that Chiron did that was basically a sacrifice just believing in the space,
positional sacrifice.
the bad pawns that black has all over the board.
I mean, let's put it this way. It's in the repertoire, of sacrifices, of positional sacrifices.
I mean, this is whole another level chess, because I an A player like me, who's probably, if there were no rating floor, I'd probably be a C player by now. But it never would have occurred to sacrifice the exchange just by looking at, the pawn structure, where my pieces are, and
Potential.
the potential
Yeah.
later on.
It's the later on potential that you have to develop that feel for that. You'll get it. You've got it. You're a student of the game.
I'm a fan of the game.
You're a bit of a student as well. Yeah, if you look at this carefully, you see that white it's going to be extremely difficult for white to even lose the game, because what can black do? Give black 6 moves, and black can't arrange his pieces in any effective way. Meanwhile, white can sort of make these slow incremental increases, like f3, king f2, advance the pawns on the king side, press a little here and there, and see if black makes a mistake and blunders the exchange back. Something, it can get tiring to defend these positions as well. That's another thing. When you have nothing to do but defend.
We're going to take a look at this game here. We have Mechanics Institute trustee Mike Hilliard against Dr. Judith Starry.
Wow. This is the game of the century.
This is an extra rated game. So we're giving viewers a bonus coverage here.
Yeah.
So Judith's got good game in her. She can play. So
Yeah, well, let's see what's going on here, though, in actuality. So it's white's move, and there's a lot of tension going on here. So what happens if white tries to do something, like plays knight takes bishop?
Wow.
Well, that probably would end up okay for black. Oh, look at this, pawn to g4. Just naked aggression from the trustee.
You'd think it'd be more conservative, right?
Yeah, it's just like throwing caution to the wind,
So we're gonna have to see how and plus, but the problem is you don't want to beat the TD.
The gloves are off.
Will lose.
Well,
you know?
the TD, if she wanted to, I think she could just stop this game and start it over.
Yeah,
If she wanted
just
to.
forfeit him, right?
And Judith's in the chat saying she's going to mute us because she was listening to the broadcast.
Well, I mean, yeah, this is, anything could happen here. The tournament director always wins. That's what I heard. You know?
Can't lose.
So,
Can't lose.
Mike-
where you can restart
Mike
the game.
is playing
turn
to
it
the
off.
gallery. Here. So that's all that he can do.
All right, let's take a look at Jonah Bush's game because I'm curious to see if he can make something. This is an exciting game.
Yeah, it's a wonderful game. Black is just playing with two pieces, the queen and the rook. I mean,
Right.
you can't do this forever. You're going to have to bring out these other pieces.
And the queen can swing
White
around.
has this. What's this? The name for these two rooks and two bishops? There should be some kind of a name for it.
Where they're lined up like that.
Yeah, for some reason it looks like a wedding cake or something.
The wedding cake.
The wedding cake move.
Yeah, I like that.
Wedding cake formation, rather. I don't know what it is, you know.
Well, these bishops are sneaky, right? Because they move, and then the rook's barreling down.
They look
also.
like candles on the cake or something like that. I don't know.
The wedding cake. I like that. Yeah.
It's a funny little formation, and you don't see it often. So I think that this game could, White's got all sorts of slashing diagonals and enterprising possibilities, like playing queen h4 or pawn to g4 or uncovering something with the bishops.
If you didn't see how the game got to this, I mean, you could reasonably think that this was some sort of sacrifice on purpose to get the space. When you have this much space, almost like a Benko Gambit,
Well,
where
it
you're
can be
giving up
hard
two
to
pawns.
tell what's a sacrifice and what's not. I've noticed it can be very difficult to tell. We'll have to take their word for it that it was a sacrifice. And who's next?
All right, so let's go to the top. Although it appears that Pranav is really trying to work this out because he's
That's another thing. If I'm Black, I need to try to figure out what's my best optimal thing here. How am I best prepared here? And I guess bringing the king to d6 makes sense, and maybe even to c5 or b4. If you imagine a Black king at b4, that looks like a good position for the Black king. So I want to think like that. Maybe put the other rook on. Keep the rooks so that they're active and that they can move around if need be. So I'm trying not to take the side of Black here. What's a good plan for Black? Bring the king straight into the game. And if I'm White, I'm a little curious about why Kyron played king f1. Like, to me, it looks like playing f4 or f3 and then king f2 looks like a more natural way to bring the king into the game. And king f1 looks a little funny to me. And I'm not sure what the follow-up is exactly.
Let me go to Rui's game where you showed concern about her queen.
Yes, I thought she was getting. This is just c5 is a great move, obviously. Well, Black has to take with a pawn, I would guess, because if she takes with the bishop, then knight takes e5, and then hitting d7.
I mean, I guess black could then think of queen takes g5, so that needs to be looked at. But what about trying to win the queen still, as well? Okay, black is forced to do that. I'm trying to find a clean win here for white. I have a feeling that one exists. It's just black's position is precarious to the max. This is almost shaping up to be like a brilliancy prize kind of game here. If white can figure out the knockout blow.
Yeah, and Rui's gonna fight this one. Actually, speaking of
Rook one maybe, and knight takes e5 even right here. I don't know.
Let's peek on
course.
Elliot's game here. Like Elliot is getting ready to throw the kitchen sink at Chelsea here.
Yeah, black's gotten sort of the typical counterplay too. Yeah, this is your Najdorf players' bread and butter, these kind of positions. Black thinks that black is winning and white thinks that white is winning. And who knows where the truth lies in these sometimes. When these opposite side attacks and somebody can land a terrific blow. Too close to call.
Flipping over.
I'm gonna cop out with the too close to call comment.
All right, so we'll switch games. So we got Ryan Wang against Theo Biasis.
Interesting. White's putting a lot of pressure on black here. Knight f4. So, I mean, black can take on d3, and maybe will have to do that. But the question is, the bishop is still dominant over the knight in that position, unless black can get in f5. Maybe bishop takes d3, rook d3, pawn to c4, start out the blockade right away, and then try to play pawn f5 and put all the pawns on the color of the white bishop and try to make that knight good.
I switch games here. This is the under 1600, Pranav Pradeep and Martin Camacho. Pranav Pradeep is currently undefeated in the under 1600.
Well, this is going to be a little tough for black. I think white has a more compact pawn structure, and black has some weak pawns here. This is going to be a tough little.
Some work.
It's a tough little end game, but white looks better here, to my way of thinking.
Let's check in on board one with Kyron Griffith and Pranav Sairam.
Let's see how that game is going. All right, so if I'm white, I want to fix that pawn. I'd like to be able to play pawn h4 here. And white's going to have to pick a pawn formation on the king side to, Black is playing well here. Yeah, pawn h4 has got to probably be forced there. And to fix that pawn on the light square. But black has done well here. And like I said, bringing the king up really far now, past d6. It's a little vulnerable on d6. Bringing it up to b4, or being prepared to go to maybe e5 and f4. But b4 looks kind of good. Black has done well here, and I think Kyron's maybe taking a little too slow. Black seems to have gotten somewhere in the last few moves. And
would white want to trade any of the minor pieces, or are you trying to hang on to those and have them work together?
Well, yeah, I've been trying to work that out myself. I mean, that knight on d4 is really important. I can see a scenario where the knight gets traded for the bishop, and that being good for white too, especially if white can pick up another pawn like on d5. Also, I can see a scenario where white trades the bishops and that being okay for white too. In fact, maybe that's what white should be doing here. I'm trying to think of what white should be doing to make progress. And it could be that exchanging a pair of minor pieces is what needs to happen. And both minor piece trades are possible. And Chiron will have to kind of figure out which is the right one.
Let's.
I think exchanging knight for bishop might be the way to go. Very interesting. Okay, so what's happened here? Wow, Roy has gotten castled, and
Good.
she has
She's got some counterplay.
not lost her queen, and now plays this lovely pawn e4 move,
Yeah.
threatening the knight and
The guardian of the
trying to
bishop.
win the piece back.
Yeah.
Basically trying to win the piece back. So white needs to be calm here, okay? White's not going to, there's still things going on here where white can maybe hope for an advantage.
Right. But the serious threat is kind of removed, right?
Yeah, but maybe there never was anything. I mean, it's possible. So, we didn't quite analyze that out to mate or anything. So, the question is, what's white to do here? So, it looks like black's regaining the piece. I don't see a way for white to not allow that. So white wants to let black regain the piece in the most favorable way for white. That's the strategy. When you're up a piece, somebody's winning it back, you've got like a move or two sometimes. And to really think about which is the right way to return the piece.
Right.
You don't want to be led in the wrong way in that kind of situation. And so queen g4, that occurred to me because it forces black to trade queens, and then this endgame of bishop versus bishop is certainly better for white. And
Why would it be better for white?
because that black bishop is a pawn, and the white bishop is better, and also black has these weak pawns.
Oh, that's a pretty good move right there, though.
Yeah, Roy is kind of recognizing that there's some danger here, I think, and has to react quickly. So what am I going to do if I'm white? Maybe bishop to d2? Is that a move that would occur to get the bishop out of danger? Maybe even bishop e3. Black doesn't want to play f4. So bishop d2, remove the bishop out of being a target, and then white can play pawn to c4. White's got some long-term endgame advantage here.
I'm
Black
gonna
has to be careful about.
switching over to Jonah Bush and Ayan Zaman.
How did that black rook end up on d7? I have no idea. I mean, it's the only square for two black minor pieces. I'm just kind of scratching my head here. I'm sure there was a reason for it, but and yet black is still hanging on. So look at this position now. I think white's probably winning now. Queen e5. Black has done. Black may have to play rook to d5 or something.
Well, look at that threat.
Bishop e6.
Bishop e6.
Maybe. No. No, bishop e6 is of course a threat. Yeah. Black is just trying to hang on to everything here. Kasparov would find a way to just finish black off here. Yeah, Black's not playing with 3 of his pieces, and it's been many moves that Black's not been playing with 3 pieces.
You go Rook D1 now, or?
I like calm moves like that. Rook D1. Yeah, or pawn E4, or maybe Rook D1 makes a lot of sense to me.
Yeah, I mean, Jonah's making the most of
being 2 pawns down.
And then this AWJ94122 in the chat is, how is Black not playing with 3 of his pieces?
Yeah, that's what I was. Yeah.
And earlier in the game, got 2 pawns pretty much for free. You would think there must have had to have been a misclick or
with
something.
The same queen and rook developed.
Yeah.
And Rook D1's played. Okay. Interesting game. I mean, Black is sticking to his guns, and it's funny about positions like this. You can almost play Rook D7 because your domination of the dark squares is so complete that Black can barely move a piece.
Yeah.
I mean, probably that's not the move. Maybe something like Queen D6 or Queen C7. But just the principle involved, of this total dark square domination.
So let's move over to Rui's game, where there's been development.
If I'm Black, I'm hoping for a drawn rook and pawn ending. This is critical for Black. And this is what I was thinking. Black also can't play bishop f4. It's tragic. Roy is having trouble with their end games and evaluating these positions. I think this looked bad as an end game 4 or 5 moves back. I mean, she was in hot water out of the opening and survived that, it seemed to me, and then hasn't, really been able to recover because the end game turned out to be bad as well. And Black has one possibility here, maybe going for the well, it's a new game.
Yeah, we flipped it over to
That's all right.
Peek on
And
board
Black
1.
is coming in with the king over the queen side, and White's made some progress there, but Black has played a good game here, or the best game possible that was possible. And I'm beginning to see a strategy for White now, which is to play the knight to f4, and so knight e2 and knight f4.
And would put pressure on the h5.
And pressure on d5 and h5. So I'm starting to see method to Chiron's madness here.
And I mean, that's was the
logical regrouping of the pieces.
Let's take a look at Elliot's game. Elliot Winslow against Chelsea Zhu.
Yeah, well, Elliot's still in tactic land. What happens here? Knight f3? I guess rook takes b4. Yeah, and then the knight's just kind of hanging in there in limbo. So if knight f3, rook b4, queen b4, queen e3. So knight f3, rook b4.
Whoa.
Knight takes d2, rook b6. Yeah, okay.
Well, rook d4.
Black's not going for any of that foolishness. This is, this could be an equal sort of game here. Although White's got some space advantage. Maybe it's not equal, actually, and it's better for White, this end game. Yeah, I mean, it's one of those rare Nahdorfs or rare positions where these endgames can be tricky to call. It looks good for White, though, this endgame, I would say.
So let me flip over to this game where Martin Camacho look like he is putting a ton of pressure on Pranav Pradeep, who is black, who has not lost in the Tuesday Night Marathon yet.
Oh my gosh, this game is just. How is black going to stop the pawn? I guess there's ways to do it. Rook c3 check, force, king g4. And then I guess king f7 looks good enough, I would say. Boy, you know, these things are sometimes the rook endings are rook c4. Does that work?
Doesn't that?
Oh yeah, because you can play rook d4 check and then rook back to d8.
Ah.
Okay, so.
Well, now is black winning?
Probably.
Wow.
Rook h7, rook d4 check, king g5, rook d8, king g6. Actually, that was dangerous for black to play that way, I think. Somebody's
Hello.
Ashik.
Hey, Ashik.
Hey, Bill. Hey, Paul. How are you doing?
How's it going? I think you have to mute your Twitch if you have it on.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I see. Okay.
Antoine, why are you pulling your hair out? Let's try to figure this out here.
How's this in-game look?
H7, rook d4 check, king g5, rook d8, king g6. To prevent king f7. I mean, I guess that black is going to win with 3 pawns versus 1 versus a rook. If he has to give the rook up for the pawn.
I mean, it seemed like he had things in control, and I think he thought he would be able to queen that pawn, but then it did not end up happening. And Ashik, I'm putting your name.
Your son is doing so well in this tournament.
Yeah, somehow he has a very up and down swing, you know. It's like a bit inconsistent. This tournament he's doing very well.
Well, that sounds like a typical chess player.
Yeah, exactly.
What black? Okay, so black. Black is going to play b5 here, I suppose. But then rook a2. I mean, is black rook e1 check? And followed by rook takes d8. No.
There we go. I don't know. I think.
I'm completely confused here.
So when things are in confusion, what do we do?
Play king f7 instead of taking that extra pawn. This is actually quite interesting, I think, unless it's completely easy and I'm missing something. I mean, white is actually threatening, I think, not to play king g7 and h8 queen, but is threatening rook e1 check, followed by rook d1 check, followed by taking on d8, I think.
Yeah, but if that pawn promotes, then it's covering h8.
Yeah, but white will have an extra rook.
So black has to play rook f8, looks like. No other choice.
Well, I'm not sure. I mean, really? Rook f8? That looks like an crazy looking move. To believe that that's the right move. I mean, first of all, black could play rook h8. And,
oh, yes, rook h8, yeah.
And if king g7, rook h7 check, and then I think it's close. I'm not sure exactly what's going on. I mean, black is either winning or it's a draw. I don't think
or they're losing. It's one.
Yeah, I mean it's 3 pawns versus a rook, but they're all back on the second and third row. It's
wow.
I don't know.
Rook
A. Tough one.
Black plays rook a8.
Wrong move. Rook takes pawn, right?
That seems to be a blunder. Yeah, rook takes.
Right.
Although black's probably not going to lose that with a rook and 3 pawns versus a queen.
Yeah, right. True.
So
This is unfortunately the under 1600 section of a rapid
but
tournament.
this is very interesting. What's happening on board one?
Anything can happen.
I mean, this is a fantastic game, actually.
So let's go to board one.
What about your son? How did he do? Is he doing in this round?
He's playing. Let's go to that game because he's playing Jonah Bush,
Okay.
and that was quite a game.
This game is still incredibly interesting.
Here we go. The pressure's still on.
Your son took 2 pawns in the opening and then has not developed any pieces, but it's still 2 pawns ahead. No.
He has a tendency to grab pawn.
Yeah. Still 2 pawns ahead. I mean, this is stubborn chess.
Yeah,
This is incredibly stubborn chess.
Yeah.
But so far, so good, you know?
Yeah, if it works, it works.
If it works, it works. And you see games like that, you know, where the one player tries to break through and just doesn't have the chops to do it, you know, or something. So
This looks like white has enough compensation for the 2 pawns.
I thought so.
Yeah, we were thinking that.
So far, not been able to land the blow that's needed.
That's the thing.
And
something
and black
like
is meanwhile saying, "I'm 2 pawns ahead." Ha 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 ha.
something like Mikhail Tal style or Kasparov style. Something we need here.
Yeah, Kasparov would break through here. I agree.
Actually, Paul said that. If Kasparov were here, he'd find a way.
I did. And it resembles the kind of sacrifices. These kind of games resemble a lot of Kasparov-Tal games.
Yes. So here's the top game on board one. Kyron Griffith sacrificing the exchange earlier for position, and here we are.
Well, again, I mean, this is, okay, so Kyron, the pawn structure has changed a bit, and white has not played knight e2 and f4, and instead, either black has forced white to play f4, and in which case that's no longer possible. So I think this has been a success for black a little bit, because white can no longer play the knight e2, knight f4 idea. The question is, white still has pressure all over the place, on d5, on h5, and it's still like maybe a quiet move like bishop to g2 here. And just, with the idea of playing knight b5. I mean, Kyron's starting to take some action now. Maybe he's worked out a concrete variation.
And you sort of feel that because he plays his moves quick and deliberately. And
yeah, like the knight can come back to c3 possibly here. And black is holding tough, but it's a very tough position to hold.
And we may have Christian Clemens join us. I just messaged him in the chat. Hey, perfect. How you doing, Christian?
How'd you do today, Christian?
Doing well, thanks. I just finished my last game. I've got your stream up, so let me just mute the stream just a second here.
Yeah.
All right, I can hear you all now.
Well, Zoom is the new living room.
I'm really getting used to it. I've got a lot of Zoom meetings at work these days, so it feels like second nature now.
So what do you think of board one over here?
Let me see. How can I see board one? Let me go back to my
You have to go to
Twitch,
and then mute Twitch. So
okay.
Yeah,
I think I can see it now. Let me just blow it up because my eyes are pretty bad here. Okay, now I think I got it. So this is Kyron with white against Pranav with black. Is that right?
Correct.
Yeah. Well, I think yeah. Well, Kyron sacrificed the exchange. Yeah, Kyron. I mean, knight b5 was played quickly, but now what? After rook e7, you want to play bishop g2, but then comes rook e2 check. So, I mean, the knight can go back to d4, but then black plays king b4, or well, maybe not yet. but I don't know. Things got a little loosey goosey here.
What about knight
Normal pawn
c3?
structure for black, but even so, I don't really feel like black has as many weaknesses as I kind of would expect, given how ragged the pawn structure is. I just feel like it's kind of easy to defend all those weaknesses right now.
It's not well. Okay. Well, okay. Kyron's played back to c3, like I was talking about. So d4, knight b5, and the rook. One of the rooks has to come back to defend the pawn, and that's something good for white here.
D4.
I mean, there's a lot of logic to what's going on here. Nobody is blundered here. Rook d8, I suppose, or rook d7, and then white needs, another couple of ideas here to make progress. Luring the pawn forward to d4 is probably good,
Yeah,
I'm not sure how it happened, but the white pawn ended up on f4, and I wanted the white knight to end up on f4. And so that's an interesting thing. I'm not sure exactly how that occurred in the game. Maybe it was impossible for Kyron to accomplish that. And now there's things like rook d8, pawn c3 is possible, because if black can't take on c3, because of rook d8, pawn c2, rook c. Oh, white can't play rook c8 check. So if rook d8, maybe white can't play pawn c3, because black will take. Black defends this way. Interesting.
Oh.
That did not occur to me right away.
So let me just
Very active defense, but what happens now? Bishop d3, rook e3, bishop c4. I guess rook f3 check. Yikes.
just doing a quick peek in on Rui's game. This is where we've arrived at.
This is a draw.
So
Or should be a draw.
Looks like she's going to hold that. And just a
Yeah.
quick peek on
For sure. Or it
Ayan's
should be
game
it's a book draw.
and Jonah Bush. And now Jonah's going to start launching that pawn over there.
Yeah, this is like, I mean, it's impressive. Queen takes a7 was possible. I mean, white is spurning the regaining of a pawn to play h4. I'm not sure about that. I mean, I would have been really tempted to take that pawn at a7. Maybe Ayan should play b6 now and say, show me. It's disturbing how much pressure white has here. And the rook is useless at d8. The black rook just should move to c8 and threaten c5 or something.
Mm-hmm.
Black needs
b6,
to...
If b6, I think white could even think about playing rook takes c6. Then if bishop takes c6, queen takes d8. I don't know if it's any good, but that's one way to get a pawn back.
Yeah, it's true. But if I'm white, I want more somehow. But you're right, that may be all that white has. Queen e7.
Queen e7.
So that doesn't stop h5 at all.
Actually,
I'm not sure what it does. Black might be ready to play c5 now or something, or b6 and c5. Black's going to have to give up something back at some point.
Yeah.
Black really rich.
What about a4 bishop h3?
Right now.
Oh, yeah. You're saying a4 bishop a3?
a4 bishop a3, yeah.
Well, then the queen goes back to f7. I mean, what's black accomplishing? You know, actually, yeah, black couldn't play queen f6. I mean, black has to play h6 here probably. It's getting time for white to do something, or.
I wonder if black can get an h6 and then maybe find a way to get the knight to h7 and then f6. Then you're kind of blunting that diagonal a little bit. It's not as good as that there.
Yeah, that's true. That would be awesome.
And let me flip over to board 1 because there's been some progress in the game.
This has been a very interesting game. A really, really interesting game. Black has kind of maxed out his counterplay, and it's really interesting to see that.
Yeah, knight has c7 and d5 now, right?
Knight c7 to d5. Yeah, that's possible. Or knight to c7. Yeah. I mean, both players are sort of really exerting, the potential of their pieces here. White can't play bishop f7, obviously, because of rook e2 check. So,
is rook e3 a threat at all here? And then try to play rook f3, and then if king to g2, then
right,
maybe
but white can play knight takes d4. So everybody's in Zugzwang. That's it's getting to that kind of thing where you have this mutuals. Everybody's in Zugzwang or something. I don't know. A fighting game and a lot of interesting transitions have gone on here. But Black has done very well, I would say. I mean, there was a lot of danger of just getting destroyed. And Black has really played well to sort of get where he is now. There's a time factor here, with Kyren way ahead on time.
Oh, yeah.
Too.
Yeah, that's going to be an issue, I'm imagining.
Black also has moves like rook e1 and rook h1, and I like the way Black has played so far.
And now it's going to be a little tougher to find the correct move, especially in a position like this with so much tension.
I wonder where the knight's best placed. I wonder if it would be better placed if he could just airlift it to d3 somehow. I wonder if that would be a better place, and then maybe think about putting the knight on e5.
Yeah, well,
it's a long way off. It would take
I'm not sure how it can get to d3, but
yeah, maybe something like knight a3 and then bishop d3, then knight to c4, and then kind of shuffle it back. It takes forever, but I don't really feel like it's hard for me to imagine how Black's position would get better in the next bed moves.
Well, Black can play rook e3 and rook f3 check. Remember that.
In that case, right.
You got to watch out for that, and I can see even some scenarios where Black with the rook on e3 and the white bishop on d3, where Black can play rook takes d3, right? And then either infiltrate with rook e2 check or play king b4 and start destroying things on the queen side or trapping a knight or something like that, All kinds of horrors await you when you play chess.
So let's just peek in on this game real quick. This is what happened with Pranav Pradeep and Martin Camacho.
Well, probably a win for white. Probably a win for white. Certainly if white can get the
queen d5 check, and then
if you can win that pawn. Yeah, it looks to me like white can just win the c pawn. You're right.
Queen e7, queen c5 check, and then you win the c pawn.
Yep. As soon as the c pawn goes, it's going to be a technical win. Black is
the queen versus rook is really difficult.
Well, you know what? I'm beginning to think it's not as difficult as you might imagine. I think it's the rook versus the minor piece defense that's the most difficult. If you have a draw, you're playing Carlsen, right? And he's got the rook and you've got the bishop, and you can draw, but that's going to be really tough.
Check out this game between Ryan Wang and Theo Biasis. Speaking of,
oh my gosh, rook a2. Oh, Black's move here.
Black's move.
I've been talking about these kind of end games. Looks
exactly.
like maybe, yeah, king c4, I think would win here for Black, and it's played. It's a nice little.
I see. Nice.
It's
done.
The bishop and two pawns will overpower a rook. Will overpower the rook, but Black had some issues there, because the king wasn't far enough advanced. And white has this e-pawn too.
which makes things tricky. King c4 is a pretty move.
That's a great little move right there.
Oh, I see. Now rook takes bishop is compulsory.
Rook takes bishop just loses to b3 check, and then
King d1.
And take.
then you take on a2 check and play king d4, and you win any king and pawn ending.
And Rui
Any
did
king
draw
and pawn.
that
Yeah,
game.
yeah.
Let's go back to board
Oh,
one
Rui drew that game. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was an easy.
with
draw.
Daniel Lin. Yep.
Wow, Kyron is having a think here. This is not easy.
Long king. Yeah.
Yeah.
It suddenly didn't get easy, or it never was easy. And black can toy with the idea of playing. In a way, white's almost in Ziswan, because if the bishop goes to d3, then rook e3 is quite strong, I think, with the threat of rook f3 check and the other rook coming down to e3.
And Michael
I mean, that
Walder's
was-
in the chat imploring Griffith to take a draw if it's offered.
Wow. I also feel like if the knight moves away like I thought maybe it should, then black can try to move in the king maybe to b4 and c3, and it's just kind of hard to see how white can kind of extricate that.
Well, bishop f1 is the, in a way, the only move, but black can just bide his time too here and play rook to e7, for example. How is white going to improve his position without losing something? I mean, knight a3 is a little dangerous.
Time is a big factor right now. He's under 20 seconds.
Because if knight a3, the king can come in to b4, I think white needs to just repeat here with the bishop moves to c4 and f1. I think that it'd be dangerous for white to play for a win here. And black plays for a win. That's just, and that looks bad because if knight takes d4, it's a blunder.
Now rook e3.
Didn't a pawn just fall right there?
Oh, king b4. Okay, maybe could this work? All right, if king b4 works, then this is an incredible, a wonderful winning try for black. It wasn't necessary. I think black was holding. So, what about knight b5? I guess that's met by rook f3, and then the other rook comes to e3 with a mating attack. Black can get a mating attack here if white's not careful. So, I mean, as a winning try, this is quite interesting for black. What about knight b5, rook f3, king g2, rook e3, c3 check, king c5, rook d5 check, king c6. I mean, white's got almost an attack himself there.
What if white plays knight c6 check maybe, and then if king c3, then rook d3 check, rook takes d3, bishop takes d3, and then you're defending both c2 and the e2 square?
Yeah, and you're attacking a5. That looks great.
A5, just figure out a way to get your knight back in the game.
Well, yeah, black can. Yeah, you're right. Knight knight c6, king c3, rook d3 check. Rook takes d3, bishop d3, and you're winning the a5 pawn. That's worth at least a draw. Good, well seen, Christian.
And then I guess maybe, I don't know, if after, there's no way for him to go back and there's no way for black to just repeat that line.
Well, black couldn't repeat, I guess, can go knight c6, king c5.
And then, is knight takes a5 safe?
No, well then there's rook f3 check and
knight
rook
d5
e3
check,
again.
right.
And that's
So in that
going to
case, if
cause,
Chiron
I don't
wants to draw
think
it.
white can allow that. It's just going to be devastating attack. This has been a great game. I mean, really, and king b4 is a tremendous fighting move. I think.
And wow, and Kyron is really
Yeah, because king
In the
c3 is a
tank.
threat. Yeah, and Gulko fan is saying knight c6 check. So knight c6 check looks like the move. I mean, in a way, if it's a draw, you can just it's a kind of a, you know, white's got the draw in hand. White plays knight b5. But what are we missing here, folks? Isn't this an incredible? This attack looks very strong. Although I looked at this, rook d5 check, king b6. Okay, so does white have a draw this way? It looks like white has a draw this way, because black can't play king c6 because of knight d4 check. Kyron's looking for a win. Okay, so Kyron found another way to draw. I didn't look at this far enough. This is interesting. White has to take the draw. This is a really well played game.
And if black tries to run to b7, then bishop d5 check, and bishop takes f3.
Yeah. This has been a really good game.
He took it.
This has been a fine game. Yeah.
Good game. Nice. Good game. Good game.
Yeah, really good game. Kyron may have missed a chance to transfer the knight to f4, but I wasn't quite sure.
Jonah Bush got it done against Ayan. He found a way.
Wow, sorry, Ashik.
Yeah. Let's check on
it was a heavy pressure game.
Oh, look at this. Look at the symmetrical. Okay.
Look at this game with Elliot and Chelsea, and Chelsea looks like she is up.
But knight d5 is a tremendous shot. Look at that.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
wait a minute.
Blunder. Black is mated by force. Unbelievable.
Oh,
Black
my
had
goodness.
to play knight takes d5.
No, can you
This is a harsh lesson.
Wow, that is.
That exchange down
goodness.
position was probably lost, though.
Unbelievable. Now,
The Arabian Night.
yeah, I mean, the question, this was the position here.
Right.
Look at that.
Okay, so we'll stop here for a second.
Yeah, here.
I guess knight takes d5 would not draw. It might come close, actually, if black plays knight takes d5 here. Knight takes d5, king c4, maybe g3. Because if king d5, g2, and makes a queen.
Crazy.
So, black should play knight takes d5. Instead, rook c6, knight f6, and
so
Elliot's showing some class here.
Hey, Ayan, thanks for joining.
Yeah.
King G8,
That was a crazy game. We were watching that.
Yeah, those double bishops.
Yeah, they're pretty
supposed to show
powerful.
how powerful they are.
They're
Yeah.
pretty powerful.
I underdeveloped though in the opening. I feel.
Hey, what happened to Jonah? Because it looked like he just hung a pawn in the beginning, because it didn't look
pawns.
like 2 pawns.
Yeah. I don't know. I thought it was a misclick or something.
Oh, did I mess this up? Hold on. There we go. Okay, guys, what about this game? Because we thought it would have to be a win for white, and now it's getting a little crazy.
This still might be a win for white. I mean, Carlsen won a game quite recently with queen versus rook and pawn.
I think this could be a win for black.
This could very well be a win for white still.
I think
I'm
it's
not
gonna be
sure.
It's going to be a win
And
for
Winslow's
black.
saying it's a book win. If you want to see some incredible technique, take a look at that Carlsen, a game recently where Carlsen won with, I think it was recently, with a king and queen versus king, rook, and pawn. I mean, it's just the technique was incredible. Incredible.
Now, instead of queen c1 check, couldn't white just have played king c5 and taken the pawn? Was there any way to defend it?
I didn't see it. I didn't see it.
Oh, I guess he did the same thing now. He repeated moves.
Oh,
it's going there.
Black had the fortress
that's it.
earlier
isn't that it right there?
and was totally winning before that. I believe that F pawn. Yeah, black. That was this game was a real up and down struggle.
That's
too
it.
bewildering for your poor commentators.
Hey, Manas and Manas Paldi is in the chat. Hola. And I think this may be the last game.
Wow. Hey,
What-
this feels like the chess club. We're at the chess club with
and
Christian Clemens and Ashik and Ion, and this is
no, and Judith was saying that in the chat. Like we're having everybody in there. It really feels like the Tuesday
it's
night
like a Zoom
marathon.
Yeah.
Whoops. There we go.
So, what's your score, Ashik?
I'm 2 out of 5, but
And you, and what about you, Ion?
I'm 4 out of 6.
4 out
Yeah.
of 6.
4 out of 6.
4 out of 6.
Very nice.
nice score,
Thank you.
especially in the open. What about you, Christian?
I'm trying to count. So I think I have 4.5. I've got 4.5.
Yeah.
I lost my second game, and I've actually got 4 in a row now, which I'm not sure.
Oh.
I can't remember the last time it's happened. I think it was maybe one Mechanics Rapid tournament.
It's nice to go on these winning streaks. Congratulations.
Definitely, and I was kind of happy with the draw in the last round. I was kind of on the point of offering one, but I felt like I just had maybe like a tiny advantage and just kept pushing it.
Yeah, and he's a tough player. He's from North Carolina, PJ Leotino.
Yeah, he played really quickly and maybe just dropped a pawn in the end, but it was tough for sure.
Yeah, I'm trying. Did we look at that game, Abel?
Which one, Christians? Yeah, let me pull
Yeah.
that up. Actually,
Yeah, pull it up
let's go to that.
while Christian's here, and we
And
can take a quick
all
look at
the
it.
and all the games are done. So Judith will soon put up the updated standings, and then we can take a look at that. Let's see.
Hey, thanks for everybody who's been watching. I mean, it's really great to see the numbers of people watching just growing, you know? And we had a lot of people in the chat today. It was like, I think this is one of our finest evenings.
Yeah, it was fun. It was a lot of fun. So while we wait
Yeah.
to go over the standings, which will be up shortly, let's take a look at Christian Clemens' game. He's black
Yeah.
against PJ Leotino. I think his USCF is like 19 something. All this is normal.
This has been booked since the 1800s.
Yes.
Right.
This is actually a line that I learned from a book about Capablanca. So it's what I always try to play against the Queen's Gambit. So really since the 1920s.
Oh, yeah.
And so here I thought rook e to c1 was already a little bit weird, and I realized he wanted to put pressure on this b pawn, but it doesn't work tactically because he could never take that pawn on the c6. And then here this just drops a pawn.
Black is a wonderful position here. White doubled on the C file. It was pointless for white to double on the C file.
That's right. I didn't think rook e to c1 looked. I knew what he was trying to do, which was to play rook b3 and then try to get some counterplay on the queen side. But it just didn't work because of his back rank weakness. If you go back a couple moves, but I think this move rook a3 also just dropped a pawn.
So let's see how your technique went after this. Let's take a look. All right, so this is a winning position for black, I suppose.
I thought that was a really bad pawn to lose because now he has 0 against 2 on the queen side.
Yeah, let me see. You could have kept your rook. You could have played rook b2, which it was.
I did think about rook b2, but what I was also thinking of instead of rook d6 was to play c4, and then if rook takes b6, c3, and then if rook back to b1, then c2, and then I'm threatening b1 check. Rook d1 check. And then there was also another line where if he tried to run with the king to h2 to avoid a check.
Why did you play rook d6 then?
Because I was low on time and I couldn't figure it out. But also I got a little bit lazy because I thought no matter what this was winning because I could play rook c6, which I did in the game, and then
that's a good point.
Complicated things a little bit. I think I should have won this a little more easily than I did. But I also thought this was absolutely.
I think you're still winning. I think you're still winning. But
I think so.
Yeah, sure.
So players, just really quick, the updated standings are up. and I've posted it in the chat. And Kyron Griffith is sole first, 5.5 out of 6. Tied for second, third, Pranav Saram with 5, and Jonah Bush with 5. And
He's having a really good tournament.
And then in a tie, a bunch of people with 4.5: Christian Clemens, Elliot Winslow, Rui, Daniel Lin, Mansour Mohammed with 4.5. And that
You're having a great tournament too, Christian.
And Ayan
thank
with
you.
4. Yeah, you guys are doing good. And then in under 1600, Pranav Pradeep is still clear first by a mile, but he did lose round 6, so he's 5 out of 6. Ian Lau with 3.5, along with Danny Cow and Aditya Cheetah with 3.5, and Mike Hilliard. So that is.
How did the Hilliard? How did the mechanics game go? The Hilliard versus.
The here. Let's take a look at the ending of that. Judith's gonna like kill me, but you know. So this is where we're at. Judith is black. King's marching.
This is not good for Black, who's down a whole rook.
That was it. And did she resign? Wow, she normally does not resign, so we're gonna have to ask her about that when we get a chance.
Okay.
I'm sure she'd love to tell you all about it.
Yeah, there's all
She's
kinds.
actually saying that she's going to kill you. I'm
Yeah, I know.
reading it in the
all
chat.
kinds of hatred in the chat going on. But anyway, so those are the standings going into the final 2 rounds next week. So great games. It was actually a really fun night, and I just want to thank Ashik and Ayan and Christian for joining the chat. Kyron joined us earlier. Yeah, it's lots of fun, and
Thanks for having me.
it's kind of a pleasure having everyone.
it
Almost
was a
like
good
having the
evening.
family together,
A good
So-
evening of chess.
All right, so everyone, follow Mechanics Institute, or subscribe. Just click on there, and we will be back next week for the final 2 rounds of the Tuesday Night Marathon. Do not forget to, in 2 weeks, we have Summer Chess Fest 2020.
Judith says wait.
Yeah, I know.
in
I've
the
seen
chat.
that.
Oh, right.
Oh, who do we raid? So
Everyone's a winner.
yeah, everyone wins, even if you don't get a
Do you
trophy.
remember that song, that old song, Everyone's a Winner?
I don't remember that.
Great old funk song.
So it looks like we're gonna raid Sabina Foissor. So
Okay.
go ahead, hit that raid, Judith. And
Thanks, you guys.
thank you for tuning in. Thanks for joining Summer Chess Fest 2020. In 2 weeks, you'll hear a lot more about it. And for FIDE Master Paul Whitehead, I'm Abel Talamantes, Ashik and Ayan, Christian Clemens, Kyron, everyone. Thank you for joining, and we will see you all next week.
All right.
Thanks, everyone. See you next week.
Thanks,
Good
everyone.
night.
See you. Night.
See ya.
All right.
Hold on. Oh, I gotta wait 1 more minute, so hold on. Because we gotta do the raid.
Exciting evening of chess.
All right, it's done.